Welcome to Prism Break number 12. We are jumping right into the middle of a set with Heyman, Rez here, and Go Vote. Do you have any opinions on these teams, real life?
I have the opinion that people should go vote.
Hey, I mean, that's not a bad opinion.
I mean, it's a good name. It's very relevant. I don't think I have too much knowledge about these teams, but I mean, I'm still figuring things out. It is a slow and long, arduous process. There's a lot of people in this scene. There's a wide variety of people who are in teams that are just like very competent that always seem to go under my radar until I see them. I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite team.
I can tell you a bit about these teams.
Please do, please do.
Okay, so Heyman Rez here has actually won All for One, which is a Div 5 cap tournament. They also placed 4th recently in Spooky Supply Closet, and they do relatively well in all the SOSs they participate in. On the other side, I believe this Go Vote pickup is made of Pixel, Cactus, Iche, and Chai. And Chai is a very familiar face. I believe they're a Rush player, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's the other Chai. This Chai is from Caution. They actually use frontline shooters. Very strong. I swear, every time I fight them, they mow me down. Cactus is also pretty well known, like Div 4. They actually have a podcast with Dapple, which is super awesome. And TLDR, both of these teams are really strong, and I'm really excited to watch them fight each other. So let's look at the maps.
Indeed, indeed. Looking at the current score as well, it looks like Heyman Rez here managed to claim the first game in Mahi Mahi Resort. And we're going to be moving over to Museum d'Alfonso Clan Blitz. How do you think this is going to roll?
Well, we haven't seen that first game, right? But we do know that Heyman Rez here plays almost exclusively together, while these guys are actually a pickup. Clan Blitz on Museum can actually stall out a lot on this map. Like, if you don't get plat, you don't get a push. But if you get plat, and you can hold it for more than 30 seconds, you are guaranteed that push.
Yeah. I could definitely see that going. Looking at the weapons we've got here, Space Dog going in with a pencil. It looks like Rez here has a pretty... No, they've got a couple of interesting weapons in here. I see a Dually Squelcher.
I actually really like it. Okay, Dually Squelcher, CDS is actually really good. Like, it's really good support, especially if you have a really strong frontliner like 52 that really suffers from that fall off. On the other hand, I do also like that both of these teams are rolling with that nice sharking roller. Like, look at this, Iche has actually popped Kraken and got an insane double, looking for that 4th who is on top mid, running away actually, but this is an insane push. Look at how all of the members of Heyman Rez here have to be pushed back, like how far that pencil goes back, and Go Vote is now taking a quick and early rush to that plat, but did they move too fast is the question.
They're trying their darndest. I think they see a little bit of an opening. We do have the Tacticooler out, which is going to help out with this push effort, give them a little bit more room to splash roll, causing a little bit of a distraction as well. They do successfully break through. Heyman Rez here coming in with a quick response, quickly shutting down the remainder of the push, but 29 points to open up is pretty strong off of those first few exchanges.
Especially when you're playing on Clan Blitz, because again, as I said, Clan Blitz is one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, curling bomb kill. Oh, sorry. Anyway, Clan Blitz
like that.
Is definitely, yes, Museum especially is one of those maps where if you can easily get like a single ball in and then just not score for the rest of the match and win off that single ball, right? And as, you know, and if you don't get that score, as the match goes on, you can watch teams become more desperate. On the other hand, though, this team, Go Vote, is actually pushing again, but look at this 52 gal flanking on Heyman Rez here. They're gonna try and get that jump all the way to that basket, and here they come. Unfortunately, like, members are jumping in all the way to that 52. They miss again. Oh my god, they don't get the score. They almost had it, but they jumped a little too far back. Bellyman is unable to make that push go forward, but that 52 flank was huge. This is going to keep Go Vote right on their toes. Like, I can definitely see how Heyman Rez here is taking advantage of Go Vote's lack of awareness on their flanks.
Yeah, no, that was a very effective flank. You saw from the camera just them sneaking up, just grabbing all the clams all over there. There's a lot of clams that just kind of spawn naturally in both of the bases. So if you manage to sneak in while the opposing team is making a push and they're just not paying attention to it, they're too invested in that front, then yeah, you just have a great opportunity, and they're holding it right now, just fighting for their life. Managed to break through once again. They now have the lead.
That is a good lead for Hey Man Rez here heading into the final 2 minutes of this game. We're going to be seeing Go Vote now trying to take as much of mid as they can and punishing any members of Hey Man Rez here who have overextended to get their push going. You can see Space Dog here though is anchoring excellently, giving their teammates a place to come back to. Unfortunately though, Go Vote is just too aggressive on the uptake. Here comes that Kraken enabling that bubble to go up. Unfortunately, this pencil is unable to get the kill. Oh, and this Gal is actually pulling off a crazy flank, distracting their main anchor, so they're unable to help their teammates on that push. This lead has swapped, and that is a crazy one at that.
Absolutely phenomenal, really effective. I think they've got another one almost at the ready. Do make the decision to jump back, just not wanting to risk losing out on that power clam. Absolutely understandable. I think that was their only one, and even if they broke it through, like, that would have only gained them 3 points. It's definitely the better call to just hold on to that, look for another opportunity to push, or just have it on the field in case something wild happens and you need to have
oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god. K-Man Rez here just soft wiped. They forced the roller to jump all the way back. They have preserved their bubble, but at what cost? Look at how they're starting to lose their plats. But this roller is doing a great job running around behind Go Votes, stopping them from getting any proper footing here, even if they go down in the process. Ichi is actually doing a great job of using their Kraken to distract members of Hey Man Rez here. They're not going to get a ball off this, or maybe they will. You can see Chai here is getting ready, rushing in. Unfortunately, does not make it in, but that is still really good as Pixel picks up the pace and gets that ball in, bringing their lead a little closer down.
If they can just get like one clam in there in the next... Actually, no, I think they're good. There's nothing that can happen. There can be no extra time just because that it was open. There's no opportunity for any kind of comeback because it doesn't matter how many clams they had. As long as that basket is open, that it's considered in your favor. And if you have the lead, that's pretty much game, set, and match.
I think part of the reason why they lost as well is because they didn't have a clam ball currently active. Actually, if we take a look here, we can see Go Vote's final push for that basket. Chai ends up running in with that ball, unable to make it, but you can see how great Pixel is at just noticing, saying, hey, I know what this ball is, and dunking that in. That was basically the winning play, right? Because even if, right, they hadn't gotten that in, that means that the rest of their team would have gone down. Like, literally 3 down, 2 down, and all of a sudden that gives Hey Man Rez Tire a time enough to get another ball. But because they couldn't get that ball, and because they weren't focusing on that in that way, like, they were able to win.
Indeed. Incredible plays from both teams overall. Ichi with incredible use of Kraken there. We saw a few times just at the start of the game and near the end where that Kraken was used to first completely shut down a push opportunity that was created, and then just really effective sharking, sneaking up on that main support and just locking them down. Even when the 1v1 between them, just giving the rest of their team a huge opportunity to continue fighting onwards and keep that tempo going. A lot of those plays, a lot of that win is because of, like, I mean, everybody was involved in it, but Ichi, with some incredible tempo swinging plays and motions there, made a huge difference.
Right? And how impressive is that? On the flip side, we are going to be heading over to Humpback Pump Track, right? And you can see the way that these teams are both evenly matched. Like, on the side of Hey Man Rez here, oh my god, that 52, like, running in with those 2 clam balls, that would have been a crazy lead, and I don't know if Go Vote would have been able to go past it. However, Go Vote's slow and steady, and they're able to hold down areas of the map that they could very easily push out Hey Man Rez here. So it's going to be really interesting because you're going to see on Humpback Pump Track, the main area you're going to be focusing on is that elbow where that first checkpoint is.
Indeed, it is by far, like, It is a narrow pathway, but it's definitely like there's 2 checkpoints for this stage, but that elbow is the best, most efficient way. It's furthest away from spawn, so you have the easiest time kind of making the push to get there. And then you also have like there's a funnel point that makes it so you kind of it works for both ends to a degree where it forces everybody kind of just to be on one straight path, which means that it's a lot harder to get those flanks from the opposing team when you're trying to just push through, and you got to hold your ground until your entire party has their specials, and then you can make your big final push.
Right? Though a lot of teams don't really get past that ink rail on this map. Actually, as I say that, by the way, neither team in the middle of this map getting a clear advantage over the other, but this Dread Ringer is actually doing a great job, but here comes Azuka getting a clean double, triple, here comes the early lead for Heyman Rez here. Like, look at this, such clean first checkpoint. Like, we're gonna be looking at them. EJ does have this Kraken, though, is gonna be able to push out the members of Heyman Rez here from that elbow, and just look at how easily they're able to clear mid with this Kraken chasing down this shot.
You might think that Kraken's an easy special to utilize. It actually can be pretty difficult to be able to effectively chase down pressure and take opponents down. Speaking from personal experience, I've seen a lot of situations. Really nice push into this elbow. I think Gobo actually has control of this space still and can continue to push. But yeah, no, Kraken, when you know what you're doing with Kraken, it is very fearsome.
Oh no! Unfortunately, despite their really good push, Pixel does go down. Cactus is going to be squid bagging, getting just a little bit further, because again, squid bagging on the ink makes you go a little bit further on it, and like a lead to 31. Pixel, I'm sorry, JP Fred, oh my god, I don't even know how to pronounce that, so I'm gonna say that, just gets a clean double and jumps back to spawn. This Rainmaker is really utilizing the way that they have these long-range lob shots to protect their head here. Unfortunately for them, though, Pixel is gonna come in and try to harass them and gets the jump out. Oh my god, that is insane. But Heyman Rez here is getting ready to get their push through this elbow. Here comes this bubble. Here comes this roller, running as far forward as they can. They're trying to get that lead swap, and they get it just barely at 27, I believe.
We see the Kraken come out, but it was just a little bit too late, too little. We do have the Rainmaker sitting available. It looks like they are going to try to... They're more focused on trying to prevent the other team from getting back in control of it, which Rez here does manage to reclaim the Rainmaker and is still continuing this pressure and fight. But GoVote is just trying to reset the situation, reset to neutral, get things back to mid. They are going to be able to bring things over, but...
Oh my god!
Is that a shark? That's another shark!
A freak! Oh my god, they get the kill! They might get this checkpoint! The members of GoVote are all in mid! They get it to 1! That is insanely intense! This shot on the flank was just able to rush past all the members of GoVote, and none of them were able to do anything as they actually killed that one with the suction. What an amazing play! And here comes Cactus, now just trying their best after Bellyman's insane push to move this Rainmaker out of their base to be able to say, hey, I need to go into go mode.
Less than 2 minutes left on the clock. They have to get... The only option for them is a knockout at this point because of that incredible push. Which means that Rez here can be very patient, very careful with the plays. They don't have to make big risks, big dangerous plays that can have huge failures. Or what? Yeah, because they just have to hold on to the Rainmaker. They just have to hold on to their base at this point and make sure that the Rainmaker is always in optimal positions. It's always just in places that it's not going to be a threat to them.
Yeah, I mean, all Heyman Rez here needs to do is to play their life, to play their specials. Like, they don't need to do anything super outrageous like GoVote does. I mean, like, GoVote has to get to 1. Like, this is going to require some insane play or multiple wipeouts, right? However, they're well on their way. Unfortunately, though, doubled down to a bomb. So Chai is going to have to stall out this Rainmaker on the elbow. It's going to be a little rough, but they do have the time to use.
They do indeed. 35 seconds left on the clock, and there will be overtime so long as they can hold on to the Rainmaker. Actually, that Rainmaker doesn't look like it lasts as long as this, so they might get as long as it gets taken out and they're able to reclaim it, they will get a refresh on that timer, and that will add in and help out with it. Ooh, but if we get a wipeout, I think that seals the deal. There's no real conceivable way for them to bring this back. And
yeah. I mean, all Heyman Rez here needs to do now is just like, they can pop the Rainmaker, they can bring it back to spawn, or they could just leave it there. Go Vote is going to have to rush like their lives depend on it to even get anything. And you could see the members rushing to that elbow, but unfortunately was unable to get through. And that is a 2-1 score and game for Heyman Rez here.
That flank was absolutely terrifying. And I know you brought it up before where Vote now wasn't necessarily set up to handle the flanks before, and then we kind of just saw proof in the pudding in this third game as once more another flank happens, just sneaking up from the back lines while they're completely distracted. Forget about that, like, one sneaky path that you can kind of just quickly dart over, quickly claimed and was able to rush in and nearly get a knockout against Go Vote. It's scary. I understand why people do it, but every time I see people just leave the Rainmaker like this, it scares me because I'm like, this is gonna happen. And then this happens. They even managed to secure a very nice splat against the one player that did see this coming.
Right? I mean, listen, right? Like, that suction bomb was planned, right? And when they move this Rainmaker, they try to cover it and then bait the N-Zap to get closer, and then, oops, you're dead. What are you gonna do about it? And part of, honestly, like, Heyman Rez here, you saw how they played that Museum Clams game. You know they're going to be flanking. Like, you know you can't be leaving that Rainmaker out. You know you can't be leaving your basket undefended. And I think that's part of really what sealed their win for them, right? They knew, oh, hey, if all of my teammates go through mid and then this one guy flanks, right? It's over. Like, you can get that Rainmaker, you can literally almost knock it out. Like, insanely intense. I was honestly shocked when they even got that Rainmaker from that knockout in the end. But yeah, it was a really fun watch.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely a delight. Enjoyed watching, seeing how both managed to kind of control the field, push back and forth. Go Vote did a fantastic job in that Clan Blitz game. Just once they started to, when it was stages where they couldn't get flanked as easily and they could hold their ground, or when the flanks were more visible, they handled it phenomenally. It's just, if it was an environment where their back had to be exposed somewhere, if you're not experienced enough. I mean, I imagine these players are all very, very experienced, but in a stage as open as Humpback, it's so easy to just have your back exposed when you're not, like, meticulously planned and calculated on the situations. And their back was exposed, was taken cleanly advantage of.
Right? And speaking of, you know, moving on with these games, actually. Moving on with these games. We are going to be taking a look at our next set in just a moment. It's going to be a particularly hype set, actually. We're going to be watching... Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'm just too excited. We're going to be watching Hades versus Last Squid Standing here in just a moment, right? So, do you know who Hades is or Last Squid Standing? Like, both of these are actually names I recognize.
I don't necessarily. I'm still figuring these all out, but I mean, just taking a quick look at Hades' team page, they definitely seem to be quite impressive. And taking a look over at Last Squid Standing.
Well, here, I know these things about things. Let me start talking about them. I love yapping.
Yeah, talk please.
Okay, so on the side of Last Squid Standing, these guys actually have done. I believe they got third and then second in FTIU's 50 and then 60. And that's actually really huge because now they're playing in things like Prism Break, SOS, All for One, like these Div 5 and open tournaments that really start making them improve by leagues and bounds. Like they literally entered a tournament called Fountain of Dreams, which is a Div 6-3 tournament, and they got third place. Right now, that is really intense because I believe it was against a Div 4, like a solid Div 4 team. So these guys are really on the up and up. On the other side, with Hades, these guys have been around for a long time. I believe they've actually been on hiatus for a while. Like these strong players, honestly, I think they're all in plus, or at least formerly plus, right? But we see like players like Trey and Cuber and Adapt and Storm and Violet. Like we know who these players are. Like we've seen them before. And oh my god, their name is so cool. But yeah, like they have so many Sendo badges, like Squid Junction, Paddling Pool, Low Ink, SAC, right? And now they're at this point, right, they're SAC banned, but just looking at their results, like they even won against Black Lotus, which is like a Div X team. So this kind of shows you what level Hades is at.
Okay.
Versus Last Squid Standing.
Yeah, no, that definitely paints a picture. I might be living under a rock in a lot of things, but I know Black Lotus.
I'm glad you do. And we are going to be looking at the same map list we saw in the previous round, because we were streaming a round 2 match. And we're going to start on Mahi Mahi zones. Now, I want to note that a lot of high-level players much prefer zones to any other mode, because they say that zones allows players to reflect their skills more readily in versus things like Clam Blitz or Tower Control or Rainmaker, which are kind of unstable, and you can have insane flanks that just change the entire course of the game instead of just having the zone reset. What do you think?
I definitely can see that. I like the other modes as well, because I feel like that sudden aggression is a core part of how Splatoon plays competitively, and is worthy of being recognized and paid attention to. But honestly, zones is the definition of turf war, but competitive. It works so well. It's a defined space, and usually in the middle range of the map, 1 to 2 zones, and as long as you have that area painted up in your color, you're gaining points.
Right?
Definitely.
Now, and as I was going to say, the opening of this game was somewhat close. And here we come. Actually, is that Len? Like, drawing dude Len? Oh, my God. But that being said, these are really strong and active players in this game, right? You can see the way that they're perfectly locking out Last Squid Standing, using their specials and rushing in with that crab. You can really see that they've planned out their pushes. They know what they're going to do and where they're going to go. Literally, this roller actually is barely able to get out of Hades' spawn, but this pencil, they did not look out for that pencil because they were in range, and suddenly, bam, you're gone. Bam, you're gone. Like, this is what it's like to play against a skilled pencil player. That being said, they are fighting their hardest, and they did manage to get out of lockout for just a second. Here comes this cooler, unfortunately not able to get much mileage out of it, but again, Last Squid Standing, they're using their specials, they're going with them, they're trying their best to put up a fight here. Like, they're picking off members of Hades. They might even neutralize the zone here.
But it's not enough.
Oh my god, I was talking that entire match. I am so sorry, Malieve. Tell me your thoughts.
Honestly, you summarized everything fantastically. That opening play was so massive. Just crap was cleanly planned out, positioned exactly where it needed to be. And you could see the rest of the team just knowing that they had the crab to back them up in their plays, just charged in, took complete control over that field, and just made sure that Last Squid Standing had no room to breathe. As soon as they finally had it, like, it looked like they actually had a moment to push, but just because of how much pressure was being applied to them by Hades, even though it looked like they had control, that pencil just poked 1 or 2 extra ones, just slowed it down just enough that it didn't even matter that they got that opening, because the support was just such an anchor for that game, and just managing and helping out in such an impactful way as well. It just made a world of difference.
Right? I do want to commend really quick Last Squid Standing, because they are a really strong up-and-coming mid-level team, and this is Hades, which are arguably one of the strongest teams in this scene that are currently active. And you can see in the way that they fought each other, like Hades, you can see the way that they create their coordinated effort. They're like, okay, I'm gonna pop crab here. Okay, you go in with my crab. Okay, and then they pop their crab, and then they go in with that crab, and suddenly, like, with just that little bit of coordination, Last Squid Standing is already on the downside, and that's what difference, really, between high level and mid level, is essentially, hey, here's my plan, let's execute it now, versus, I need to do this, let's execute it like this, but it's not as thought out as clearly. Does this make sense? Like, and I think getting this kind of experience, even if you lose like that, like in just a straight knockout just so easily, that getting that kind of experience really makes you have a new perspective on the game and makes you able to think, oh, okay, I want to learn to be like them, and you can study your VOD and your replays, and I'm just so passionate about this.
I fully agree with you, and for you're passionate for good reason. Like, what we saw from Hades, exactly what you said. Very coordinated. They had planned this out like long before. There might be some flexibility in the pieces and being like, oh, okay, it's a little bit different, so we're going to go at it this way. But it's that communication and that back and forth, and it's something that's very important in Clan Blitz as well, because of just how fast everything can change in a moment.
Oof. And as you say that, actually, here comes Hades. Hades already
Ooh.
With this crab, this coordinated push, already just taking control of this plat. But Last Squid Standing has a feeling of what Hades is going to do. They're starting to try and pick off their members. Look how they're pushing them out of this plat. They're not out of the game. It's not like Splat Zones at all. Here they come, pushing and picking this pencil, picking this 52. Like, they're getting good space with their specials, with their coordinations, and now they've realized, hey, actually, I need to lock in. Here's my crab. Go, my teammates, and look at them go.
They're making a counter push. Hades did have a really good opening, but they quickly lost out after just one big power climb throw, and it looks like Last Squid Standing, as long as they can hold on, they've got 2 power climbs ready, but they're gonna get taken out by this blaster.
Oh, but Koki is doing great, getting that pick on that blaster and getting that clam back to safety. So now their roller is going to be able to pick it up, and it is not going to be something that they need to recover from as badly. Like, here they come, like, just moving in, getting that crab up again, moving forward again, allowing their teammates. Unfortunately, this roller almost gets behind and changes things, but now Hades has control of this plat, which means that it's really dangerous for Last Squid Standing.
They've got a power climb ready to break through as well. They're just looking for the right moment. There's a second power climb. First one goes through it. The barrier is broke once again, and Hades has full control of the field. Last Squid Standing just barely even standing in this moment. We've got a gal trying to push in. We've got the heavy edit also just on the ground. They seem a little scattered right now as they're trying to be able to push back, but it's a struggle.
Right? Here comes Koki actually unfortunately dropping on accident, and Hades taking full advantage of their lack of team support. Now they're going to make another push for this plat, but you can see that they're trying very hard to stop them. Cotton here is actually trying to keep eyes on that flank. Unfortunately goes down to Len. Like, members of Hades are now just trying to get another coordinated effort to try and knock this game out, but Last Squid Standing is going to try and be the last Squid Standing and do anything they can to avoid that.
They are holding their ground like their life depends on it, and they need to. We get a near wipeout here, and that's just another opportunity for Hades to break through the penalty, continuing to add in more points. They're at 24 points needed for a clean knockout victory. 18 now on 2 minutes remaining.
Right? It's the difference here is, oh my god, hold on. Violet is sharking in the corner with the 3 clams they need. They get 1, they get 2, but they're missing that last clam. Trey is here trying to get that final clam, trying so hard they can throw it from there.
Oh!
And
you
they
can throw it from there?
You can throw it from there even if you're standing on the block. You don't need to actually be on the plot for those small clams to make it in, as far as I'm aware. Only big clams. That being said,
how far the small clams get thrown.
Right? This kind of game knowledge really changes. Like, it changes how you play a little bit, right? That being said, Hades taking a clean 2-0 versus Last Squid Standing in round 2 of Prism Break.
Last Squid Standing doing a great job of holding their ground when they could, but just that final push really felt like Hades just had the download on them, knew exactly what they needed to do, forced them into a stagger, and just got them lost and confused as Hades just continued to just chew through those points and completely just dominate that second game.
Right? I mean, this was a very dominant set for Hades, but I really want to applaud how Last Squid Standing was able to clear their plat on Hades' first push and stop them from knocking out for most of this game, actually. The only reason why they were able to knock out was actually Trey coming in with a Hail Mary on this flank block, and even though Last Squid Standing saw it coming and knew it was coming, it was almost too late for them.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, no, Last Squid Standing did a fantastic job of, like, there were a couple of moments here and there. Going back to Mahi Mahi Resort, there was a moment where they were trying to regain their footing, and the roller on Last Squid Standing, I forget which one it was in particular, but they jumped down, and they managed just to get the read on where the two of Hades members were, and quickly cleaned them up and created a really good window for them to push back. It's just, they had some really good opportunities, made some really good callouts and catches, but when you're playing against a team like Hades, you're going to be learning a lot. That's about all I can say.
No, I'm actually really impressed, with Last Squid Standing. They're able to really put up a good last stand in that Clan Blitz game. That being said, we are going to be taking a short break while we wait until our round 3 match starts, which is going to be best of 5 in winner semis. We'll see you then.
And we are back. Thank you all so much for your patience. We are gearing up for our semi-final battle between Incognito and Magnolia. Two very solid teams. I believe Magnolia has shown up here in the past, and Incognito has a good history of plays in their book. Something I hear a lot, and excuse me, I'm still learning a few things. Could you explain to me how, for me and maybe some of the viewers who might not be as familiar, say, newer viewers who are dropping by, how does the div system work here? Divisions.
Oh my god, divisions? Okay, so when Looney rolls around, they make enough teams for each division that fit cleanly into a bracket. So that means top 8 for X, etc., down the line. And then when you get to the lower divs, you have like 64, 64, 64. So a lot of the lower divs are actually very similar. That being said, I am kind of sad we didn't get to talk about these teams because Magnolia is a Div 3 very solid team. And on the other side, we do have Incognito, who has been playing together almost constantly. Look at these team tags and matching. Woohoo! That being said, they have been playing together constantly and got first in the Fountain of Dreams tournament, which is, again, a Div 3 to Div 6 tournament. So I'm really excited to see these games. Already, you can see Magnolia opening up extremely strong, forcing Saturn off of their stack, which is huge because stack is a really important place you want to keep on Mako. If you don't have your stack, are you really winning? That being said, the Charger on Incognito picking that splash is huge because that is going to be one of their 2 main sources of paint.
And that is going to be Incognito taking control of the center platform with some really nice pressure from that Trizooka, not able to get any splats. Out comes the Crab in retaliation. We're looking at an attempt to try to regain that control. We've got another Trizooka coming out in response, and it looks like Magnolia going to be able to claim the center as Incognito quickly scattered out. Most of them taken out. I believe that's basically a knockout right there.
Well, a wipeout, you mean?
Wipeout.
Yeah, that is kind of like a soft wipe. That being said, Incognito is not out of this game yet. I really admired how when Magnolia's pushed, they really focused on trying to get their stacks back. They were zuking it. They were zuking it, crabbing it, doing all sorts of things to it just so they could get that position back, which just shows how strong of a position it is. Look at how they're actually holding Incognito's stack and how they're unable to do anything. Here comes the Zipcaster, or getting ready to come with the Zipcaster from my Lodic. Here comes the Zuka in a coordinated push. Hold on, they're throwing everything at the zone, believe, and they're going to cap it cleanly. But how much mileage are they going to be able to get off of it with this Junior causing havoc on left side?
We'll have to see how things kind of roll out. It looks like it's not necessarily going to be able to be enough impact. Magnolia reclaiming and is quickly going to start working through their penalty here. Incognito did manage to accrue a good amount of points. Actually, not too far away. As long as they can kind of push and reclaim the center area, they might be able to have a chance for a comeback. But I imagine Magnolia is not wanting that to happen here, as they continue to fight tooth and nail to continue to keep this pressure going and trying to just... They're struggling to get a hold of their stack here, it looks like.
Yeah, Incognito is starting to stagger just a little bit. You can see this crowd behind them. Gets the pick, though, fortunately, actually. However, I believe that's Tooster is trying to get on Incognito's stack. Gets a clean pick because of the vantage point that stack gives them. And suddenly they're in a good position. Joey is unable to win this 2v1. And now Magnolia is actually taking an extremely aggressive position. Here comes this Zuka trying to get an easy pick. But more importantly, getting Tooster in, or at least trying to. Unfortunately drops, unfortunately goes down. Hold on, it's a 3v3. Here comes these specials. Here comes the Zipcaster. Oh, and the strikes were unable to come out. But my Lodic was actually able to make this zone get neutralized for just a second.
Man, it tried to push back, but unfortunately Magnolia going to be able to reclaim control. And I don't think... is there enough time for them to be able to pull back? It's getting close, but I don't think that Zuka's going to be able to make it in time. The Ink Strike does not come through. Just if there was like 2 more ticks on the timer, they would have been able to bring back a new penalty there.
Right? But these things happen in game, and Magnolia was extremely dominant with this knockout. I was actually so impressed with the way that they were able to area control so much of Mako. Like, even though they didn't have those, well, actually they did. They had a bucket, and on the other side, Incognito had a brush. But, like, using bucket is kind of... it's old. Like, you know, when they nerfed Bucket, you now have to be really good at Bucket to be able to use it. Oh, and look at how Magnolia is just controlling these stacks, literally pushing Incognito all the way back in their base so they're unable to do anything. It's really rough, right? When you are facing a team who knows the map better than you, right? And it's hard to think about it like that way because you're on Mako Mart, right? And Mako Mart is like, oh my God, it's Mako Mart, right? But really, like, Incognito, when they pushed back in, how much control did those stacks did they try to focus? How much of those key areas did they try to hold? How many wise fights were they really taking? Because a lot of it was really, let's combo with our specials so we can all get back in together. But really, when they comboed all their specials, they were unable to get those areas that they needed so badly.
Indeed. That game definitely put a light in me to understand how important those stacks are. And it made a huge difference in that victory. But we've got a whole nother game here. We're going into tower controls. This is another game or another stage that has some very critical positions for defense of plays. Or just controlling the field in total.
Right? I mean, here on Tower Haggle, I've seen a lot of people have a lot of varying opinions on Tower Haggle, including that we've used it in map lists for far too long. That being said, we use it because it's very plain, it's flat, you have very clear-cut flanks, you really have everything that is the baseline of a good map. Oh, and look at here, Magnolia with an early lead, popping this crab on tower, unfortunately getting punished super easily. Incognito is now 2 up and pushing their lead. Look at how they're rushing their court super fast. And Tuster going down, like, that's huge. Here comes the Reef Slider into their courts. Oh my God, just moving in, taking so much space. It's literally just the Splash-O-Matic, and they're trying so hard to get that crab. This is literally like day and night from that first game, Miliv.
Yeah, no, this is a huge swing in Incognito's tempo. They are just smothering out Magnolia. Oh, he manages to survive, but he does lose the crab in exchange, taking a good chunk of damage from that. But, I mean, even off of that successful trade, it doesn't look like this is over. Melodic just zipping around, looking for a clean splat. They are going to get sniped down.
This is a really good lead, though, for Incognito. Yes, they might be 2 down right now, but this doesn't mean that they're completely losing control of mid. Magnolia is actually kind of slow with this uptake. Here comes Sky rushing forward as members of Magnolia are going to be slowly pushed back because their pencil is a little too far back to deal with that enemy pencil here.
It's so hard to find good positioning when it's a pencil v pencil too. Like, it depends very heavily on how the players are kind of functioning, but like, when you're the same weapon, you both match the same ranges. So it's all about positioning then, and just knowing where the optimal places are for when you're trying to push or be defensive, and just making sure you have the leg up against your opponent. And it seemed like, yeah, no, it was definitely a little bit more difficult for them to try to get into a position where they felt safe to make a push effort.
Oh my God, Tuster getting the clean double on members of Incognito. Magnolia is now in a good spot to start pushing this tower. Unfortunately, though, they're not able to run forward far enough or fast enough. Like, here comes members of Incognito back in their court. You can see here, it's going to be really difficult for Magnolia to be able to push through such a immovable object. They need to become that unstoppable force.
They really need to just have that kind of tempo swing that Incognito had right in the opening play with motions like this, but Incognito is just doing a great job of stalling and just holding their ground, not giving away, not making any huge risky moves, and just making smart choices that are getting them trades like that, that just mean that doesn't, like, at worst, they're still at even in a lot of situations. Looks like Magnolia finally has a chance to push. They pulled out the crab. Yeah, they're trying to get it going. The crab got a lot of really effective pressure. They are at the checkpoint, managing to dodge the Snipe Rider. Did we have something else to kind of push back against the Snipe Rider? It looks like they just have complete control of this area. And Incognito is struggling to respond to this. We've got a sweet change.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for Incognito to get in with such an aggressive lockout. Magnolia is now on the upper foot, literally just winning their fights back and forth. All Incognito really needed to do to stay in the lead was to play safe and play their specials, but the way they were rushing in and trading left a lot of gaps in their defenses, with Magnolia easily exploiting them and getting that crazy lead swap here.
And now it is on Incognito to turn the tides back in their favor. We do start with the Tacticooler. Gives a lot more opportunities to play aggressively. It looks like Magnolia also has Tacticoolers all around for everybody. So we are just going to be coming in with a heavy scrap to start things off for the last minutes.
Yeah, but look at Saturn, look at Tooster, just fighting it out in mid. They have these jumps to tower. They're desperate, and you can see. But look at Incognito jumping in with that Reef Slider. Yeah, they might not get a pick, but look at how they've been pushing this tower. It's a 3v3 right now, and this is a pretty equal game, especially when the pencils are just going to be fighting it out on tower. I really like the way that Incognito is actually using their cooler to give it to their teammates, so they're able to get an easier way in. Getting that splash on that top right is actually huge. Hold on, they're getting the lead once this Reef Slider in. And all they need is a single point. They just need to ride the tower. Just touch the tower. Touch the tower, Melodic. And they have gotten it. Oh my God. There are 4 seconds in this game, and all they need to do is touch the tower. And that is it. That we are going to a game 3 in round 3. Winners, semis, and Prism Break.
The Tacticooler was so huge in those last few moments. Just allowed for their teammates to just quickly recover, get back on. You saw them kind of just piling on top of that. There was really good movement too, because it's so easy in those last few moments to have that mentality of everybody on the tower. Do not let the opposing team take the tower. But instead, they played a much smarter game that you saw even like as they were starting that final push, when 2 of the players were jumping over. I can't remember which player it was, but they were over on some good high ground and utilized that to be able to get a couple of core trades in favor of Incognito. And then they pushed over into that final area, and just maybe they weren't on the tower, but they had all the ground around the tower, so Magnolia could not respond to it. They could not just rush in and take it, because everything around them was just a death trap. And while they were desperately shooting at that spot, all Incognito had to do was touch it, pop off, continue to take the advantage further, hop back on, hop back off, continue to take more control, because Magnolia was so focused on that tower. And eventually there were just too few Magnolias that Incognito was able to have somebody sit on there long enough that the timer ticked up, the points scored up enough that they were able to claim the points.
Yeah, just those super aggressive fights, right? Like when you are in the last few seconds of a game, you kind of have a moment where your brain thinks, you have to train your brain to think this way, especially when you get better at this game. But you have to think, oh my God, I'm gonna lose, right? Like here, Magnolia locked in, just barely getting that tower over, and said, okay, now I need to play safe. But here on the other side, Incognito rushing in, just trying to do anything, just a few more splats, a few more kills. Literally, oh my God, my Lodic not getting on that tower almost gave me an aneurysm, but they ended up getting it. And here we go into our next game, Clam Blitz, Scorch Gorge. I'm thinking we're gonna be seeing the same comps that we have, but every single time, these teams still manage to surprise me.
Ooh,
Dapples!
We do have a Dapple! We've got the Tacticooler Dapple going on here. We have no long-range support on this, so they are going hard in with the rushdown and pressure with this build.
Yeah, oh my God. Okay, Dapples has the perfect support kit for a cooler weapon. Like, what other sub would you really want for a cooler weapon than Beacon? Oh my God, Tooster running and getting this early pick. This Kraken's coming out, trying to catch them. Unfortunately, they get out alive so cleanly. And now look at Magnolia. They've pushed all the way back to their elbow. I'm sorry, Incognito pushed all the way back to their elbow, while Magnolia is taking as much of mid as they want. But Milotic getting a cheeky pick on this the sloshing machine and getting a pick on this crab too, or at least, yes, they have. And fortunately for them, this is going to flip the entire side of mid, allowing them to take control, get that clam advantage, get those specials, and look at those specials. Actually, by the way, we have a cooler and a tri-strikes up. This is going to be huge when they decide to push, but Magnolia just passively pressuring actually gets them out of mid for some reason.
Magnolia just kind of falling into their elbow. Melodic seeing an opportunity to sneak up on the side. Is that going to be able to work out? I don't think. I think the Magnolia is aware of them and is just kind of keeping them on terms. Yeah, they did get splatted, so that was a failed attempt. Ooh, that unfortunate circumstances there as both the beacon and players jumping over were all taken out. Sky just doing a lot of like crowd control and pressuring with this Kraken. We haven't seen many splats, but it's definitely been scaring a lot of the others. And Magnolia players have been kind of just like dancing around it and running away. Saturn with a really nice jump back there. I like that.
That jump back was really good, but unfortunately this also means Magnolia can take as much control of mid as they need. This Dabbles is really trying to make something happen, but unfortunately they go down very quickly. Here comes this massive bubble in this elbow. Here comes that double clams breaking that barrier. Now members of Magnolia, all they really want to do is hold mid, because if they wipe here or if they go down, they let Incognito out of this makeshift lockout that they've started creating for them. Like, look at Incognito. They're basically trapped in their elbow. All these sensors, all these bullets being shot at them that they're going to have to fight their way through.
And it looks like they are starting to eke their way out a little bit, but Para with the Snipe Rider just in the opposite elbow, just working out phenomenally for them, as any of the opening paths that could be taken by Incognito just completely shut down by Parchu as they are sniping them down and writing a story about it.
Unfortunately, Sky is unable to make anything happen with their Kraken, and now Magnolia is in a great spot once again. Yeah, they're gonna get this clam in. Yeah, they're gonna give Incognito a new clam, but like, how is Incognito realistically going to get out? Especially when every time they've used their specials, it seems like Magnolia already knows what they're going to do, already is keeping a good distance from things like this Kraken, from these coolered players. Like, literally, Tuster is getting these, playing the main weapon of the Splattershot Jr., getting these picks with these splat bombs here. Literally this is a soft 3 down on the side of Incognito, and it's just this dually sharking. They're gonna try and get that pen, but unfortunately I don't think any of their shards have really worked out for them.
In comes another Kraken trying to call out, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's gonna have much impact yet again. In fact, actually leaving Sky very vulnerable and once more getting splatted as Magnolia sets another push attempt. And they are going to be able to break through. This time it looks like they're going to try to go for the knockout here, as they even take control of Incognito's base and are just pushing them all the way back to spawn.
Yeah, I mean, look at the members of Incognito literally just on this cliff, trying their best to keep members of Magnolia out. Yeah, they're basically tied game here, but there's 40 seconds left in this game. Magnolia just needs to hold these clams. They need to hold control of mid, and if they're able to do that and not let Incognito into their elbow, it's basically wraps for them.
Yeah, this is a very confident position. As long as they don't get too confident in any way, this is pretty much all but over. There are still a couple opportunities for Incognito. We do have another Kraken at the ready. It looks like we've got the Zipcaster as well. If they can make some really good power plays and calls, they might be able to make their way in, and they might be able to get their chance. But do they have a climb to be able to break through with?
Yes, they do! And here comes that jump! Sky is going to try getting that jump in. Unfortunately, though, Joey keeps fumbling, dropping off the side of the map, and is unable to dunk it. The members of Incognito get wiped out. Unfortunately, even with these players just jumping and trying everything they can, even if they threw it now, it would not be able to break the barrier in time. And that is 2-1 for Magnolia. But don't forget, we are in a best-of-5 set. So if Magnolia takes this next game, then it's over.
Indeed, Magnolia set up with some good leads. That was just that struggle at the end. It was actually super well done. They had a lot of good pressure and just Yeah, unfortunately falling down. I think those fall downs were actually really important though, because while yes, it was essential to try to break through that net, falling down like that meant that those Trizukas weren't going to splat them, because you saw every time they fell down, the Zuka's right on top of them otherwise, and they would have just been decimated.
Yeah, I think you might be saying something with that there. I might have been really too focused on that objective.
But yeah, no, Magnolia just... They saw those moments, they saw their opportunities to kind of press, and they just completely took over those opportunities. Had the download on all of those specials like you were talking about. Kraken, it did a lot of crowd control. It kind of caused Incognito to disperse, or it caused them to disperse every now and then, but it's like... I don't think I saw any splats happen from it. It was just too spacious of an environment, and meant that it wasn't able to do the damage that we've seen it do in previous games.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do want to commend one time when Sky with the Kraken was actually dancing around that elbow with one of the members of Magnolia, literally jukes them out, throws a splash wall, and is able to either escape or splat them. I forgot, but it was such a Looney Tunes interaction, and I'm really glad we got that on stream. Honestly, yeah, I mean, the members of Magnolia were really good at locking out, like every single time, and I'm thinking they're gonna be trying to lock out on Umami Ruin zones, but it is a bit of a different map. So we're going to be seeing things might not fold out the same way, especially when we have things like that dome. It's just they need to be able to get rid of things like that pencil and that junior, and it might be wraps for them.
I see we've also put away the Dapple Duelist, went back to the Sniper Raider. Really solid play, but Dapple Duelist is a really solid choice and can work really well, but it also has a lot of situations where if you can't get those beacons set up, and if you need that range, and Dapple Duelist does not supply that range, it just can become a very difficult battle. Sniper Raider definitely I feel like it's the right call here, because if you're in disadvantage, Sniper Raider has a couple of good purchase, and when you are in advantage, it can really take advantage of that center platform and get some really good shots.
Yeah, I agree. No, but Blue Dapples, or Blapples, Dapples Nouveau, is actually really strong right now. Like, the way that you can rush in, especially with Reef Slider, and here comes this one, by the way, getting this good chip on this Zuka. Unfortunately, doesn't get that pick, but all of the members of Magnolia are super clumped up. But look at, oh my god, Dripsy getting this insane pick. Like, just, I feel like whenever I play Slosher, I'm playing like I'm blind, but Dripsy knew exactly where this guy would be, and that's just the weapon difference, I guess.
You play a weapon long enough, you figure out how it works, and even if it's nerfed into the ground, there's some players that can just make weapons that, like, it's so particular in how you aim it, but we just gotta wipe out.
Yes! Oh my god, the way that those zones were flipping back and forth, I honestly didn't know which team would come out on top. But here comes Magnolia, actually, now taking up residence on this dome. That pencil needs to be removed ASAP, or it's over with a capital O. That being said, Saturn is going to be rushing, gets the pick. Oh my goodness, they get this neutral, and there is just a single Junior left on that zone, but Junior paints so much, and an unfortunate disconnect, but according to our rules, we cannot replay this match. So Incognito is going to have to lock in as best they can. Unfortunately, they do get wiped, and there is just 3 minutes left in this match. But more importantly, that is a very heavy penalty on Magnolia.
They did manage to claim that zone, though, and it did create enough of a chance, considering that it's created a penalty for Magnolia. But yeah, no, this is a very tough position to be in. Every loss is going to make a world of a difference. And they're getting staggered. When it's 3 to 4, getting staggered is the worst thing that could happen. There's very little room for them to be able to breathe or make any errors. And Magnolia has been capitalizing on that fantastically.
Yeah, I do want to shout out Tuster, by the way. Every time they've gotten into a good position and popped a bubble, they've gotten at least 2 picks off of it. Like, that is how you play Junior. That's why we have bubble meta. That's why it's so painful. Like, literally. Anyway,
Literally.
3-1 to Magnolia in this winners semi match. That was insanely fun to watch. But more importantly, even with that unfortunate disconnect, Magnolia was still obviously winning this game. Like, it was going to be really hard for Incognito to push out. Like, it's the way that Magnolia, especially playing around this bubble with this junior, it's extremely hard unless you get a reef slider going directly in that bubble. And by the time you get into that bubble, that junior already knows you're there. It's the difference between really having an excellent bubble placement and biting in that bubble versus, you know, doing anything else.
Indeed, indeed. And I mean, it is an unfortunate loss, but we do get, there is the plus side that this is double elimination. You can lose one time and still be in the tournament. You just can't lose the second time. So that means that while Magnolia will be taking this 3-1, Incognito is still in this bracket. They still have a chance to fight onwards. And making it to winner semifinal, definitely still quite an achievement, quite a feat. You have to be playing good in a bracket like this to be able to make winner semis.
Right. Speaking of winner semis, winners finals coming up in a bit, we are going to be swapping off commentators. Malieve, do you know where people can find you?
No, I don't. I've actually lost. You can find me at Malieve.bluesky, or if you're looking for me wherever else, the easiest thing to look up is Planet Scrapstar, and I'm sure you'll find something relevant. What about you, though?
Honestly, I recently made a blue sky and I finally got my @ back. So yes, I am Fresh Squiffer. Isn't that delightful? And yeah, we're going to be going into our winner's final match in just a moment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to do your map voting if you see it. It's really important, and we need ShipShape out of here. I think ShipShape Zones has been here for far too long, and I think it needs to go. But this is just my biased opinion. Thank you so much. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
back into grand finals, but winning this match could be key into really being able to mentally relax a little bit, because now you can just wait and really just set your mind straight for the grand finals here, as winning the set will punch your way into grand finals, and it just allows you to really get a feel for how other teams may play, as they will be fighting on their last leg while you're already just sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in this kind of matchup, right? Like, when you're players like Magnolia, you literally have very minimal exposure to the skill bracket that is above you. It's just, when you don't know what you're going to be fighting, all you can do is really fight your best. And that's what I really admire about teams signing up to open tournaments, especially like when it's like, oh, I'm just going to lose. Oh, especially when it's like things like groups, and they never really get the chance to really fight those really, really good teams, because most of those top 8 seeds are mid-level. That being said, we are going to go into our round 1 of Hagglefish Zones in just a moment. Do you have any opinions on that map?
I mean, I just love this map, as it's, I feel, the most quintessential Splatoon 3 competitive map ever. I mean, you just think of it, in my opinion, at the very minimum, as a playground, pretty much, as where and how these teams like to play Splatoon competitive. It lets you get a feel for their identities because of how just overall, I think, well-rounded the map is. I mean, you have zones as your quintessential, obviously, most popular type of game mode, while Hagglefish Market in itself has a lot of ways it can be played. I mean, a lot of strengths to certain weapons. Would you rather take the more flanky routes on the sides, maybe with a roller or a brush, or these more aggressive weapons, or would you rather just play it safe a little bit, play the rangy game with more edits, more pencils? And I think it's really good at really getting an eye on how these teams like to play, and we may see some strategies being developed, and just overall their identity as a whole as competitive teams.
Right? I mean, when you're in this kind of matchup, especially on something like Hagglefish Zones is literally like oh, I can cheese the zone with Reef Slider. Oh, if I throw 3 strikes, the zones is free. Oh, if I put a bubble in the middle of the zone, I can basically just cap it because they can't shoot inside of it. You know, like, it's one of those maps that's kind of like, it's giving Barnacle, it's giving Haggle, it's giving it's giving Mako, but it's very similar to a lot of other zones maps that, you know, they have these cheese strats, and you also have this very nice left ledge that you can just hop up onto, especially if you're a shooter or even like an N splash or a junior, and you're really just able to spread across your your ink all over that zone, and it makes it really easy to cap. But if you're also doubly as easy to remove because you don't really have a place to refill your ink. And then you have these flanks, especially when you have on Hades, you have Len, this blaster who is able to snipe you around corners, especially when you are playing on those corners. I can really see like him enabling these flanks, enabling the team members of Hades to be able to get into the zone quickly and get Magnolia out even faster. But when you're locked out of Haggle, you get the high ground. And that's really important, unlike some other maps, because when you get the high ground, it means that it's easier for you to push back in, unlike something flatter, you know?
Yeah, it allows for those, I see what you mean, it allows really for those comeback abilities, which in other maps it may be very difficult, like you were touching on there. Just the advantage that being able to have that height elevation could force a team in itself, and if they play their cards right, they can really find an opportunity to force the issue onto the other team, and then all of a sudden they are the ones putting the pressure on the other side, and it really just allows for a back and forth fight that we all love to see in Splatoon. I mean, really, realistically, unless you are a fan of one of the teams, really we just like to see a really competitive game all around, and whether or not that will happen here, it's really up to how these players really navigate the geometry of the map. I mean, you were mentioning like the corners and ledges of blaster players, but not only that, just the positioning of these backlines as well could be key in shutting down these lanes. I mean, you're thinking about more longer range weapons, obviously Pencil comes to mind, of course, posted up on that tent really can just provide the presence, and having the annoyance to deal with it can be tricky if you're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that pencil, that vicious pencil on Mahi Mahi, just picking off anybody who dared show their faces. Like, here we are, Cuber's at it again. But on the other side, Magnolia is bringing out their standard comp, and I can really see how they can get good mileage out of this. They have 2 really strong pushing specials. They have a bubble, which is a great defensive special, and they have a pencil, which doubles as range and a cooler. So it's going to be really good for them. Brave over here is starting to build this crab. What they want to do is try and get Hades out of the zone immediately as fast as they can. They already get an early pick, so Violet here on the right flank is going to have to rush in and get as much space as they can, allowing their teammates to push back into this zone. Now Magnolia is on the back foot, so then they have this bubble, they pop this special, they use that lovely main weapon of that Junior, and now they're locking Hades out of this zone.
This is why Bubble is such a great special, especially on Hagglefish. The zone is so small that the ability of the Bubble to just place it in mid provides so much space that you can really play around. And we're seeing it placed to use. That's actually 2 members of Hades go down there. This could be huge for Mongolia to just continue this hold, especially with Crab being online and potentially being popped here soon, nearing the halfway mark already. Mongolia is just trying to keep this down. Whale is now popped for Hades to try to get in, especially with that cooler on the back of it. The Zipcaster, you saw it being popped as well. Now members of Mongolia are falling as those Tri-Strikes are coming in as well. All the specials online, all the specials all at once for Hades went online, and now they're in control of the zone.
I really loved how Hades used that Zipcaster to get control of the zone, to make members of Magnolia turn around from that vital, like, you know, court, so they could be able to get that back. Oh, and here comes Magnolia actually with this crab, and what they're planning to do with that is to stop members of Hades from getting out. Unfortunately for them though, 2 down on both sides, so now Magnolia is at the advantage because they still have the zone. They're still holding it, but you can see this Rapid Blaster fighting for their life, unfortunately dies with those strikes, which is crucial. Whale though is going to come out, and Whale, especially at higher levels, is very deadly. Like, look at how Dripsy was picked off, and Violet pressuring that pencil, getting that pick actually. Oh my goodness, going in with the zip. Look at this excellent coordination between Adapt and that zip, just zeroing in on that same player. So now Magnolia is going to try and get their way out. Here comes Schuster with that bubble. Here comes that crab. Here comes that Zuka. They're throwing everything that they can at this zone, and 3 members of Hades go down. This is huge for them.
We see it on both sides, Time. I mean, we've seen how these teams in retake situations like to throw all their specials at the same time. We're seeing a counteraction from Hades here. 2 players are down for Magnolia here. The cooler is popped as well, so now an actually ability for Hades to come back into this where they looked pretty dead in the water initially, but now potentially getting out of their penalty points. This could be huge here if they can continue this. Less than half the match is left remaining here, so this could be really clutch here. Now they are out of their penalty, just trying to scrum for this fight in mid here, but the bubble is popped. Could create a little wrinkle of defense, but 2 players are taken down on the flank, maybe 3 from Violet. Violet goes nuclear there, being able to just backstab all of Magnolia, and now they're forced back, and with that, the lead will be switched here.
That was an incredible lead switch. That Junior is throwing out as many bombs as they can to get their team in. And here's Trey actually with a stellar shark, literally trying to get that Junior. Unfortunately goes down. All the members of Magnolia are up as this Zipcaster is going into the zone. Unfortunately, Cuber is going to be pushed back, but that is an excellent position to be in because that allows your teammates to play in front of you. Look at this Rapid Blaster that would be unable to play if that pencil literally wasn't there. Oh, and this crazy skirmish between Brave and this 50 and Trey, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, goes in the favor of Hades. They have 53 points of penalty. That is a fat penalty, and they're going to try and keep it. At the very least, though, when they lose this zone, they're not going to lose their court, and that is key because look at this cooler. Look how they're pushing up, how fast they're able to make this happen. Like, Trey is actually taking a lot of attention from the members of Magnolia, going for a flank. Actually, this Junior, who is their main painter, is actually going to look at them, goes down, even though they have cooler, but Magnolia is now out of their penalty, which means Hades has to go into go mode.
Yeah, go mode indeed. The time is running near here. There are the strikes for Hades to stay into it, and they will eventually flip the zone, so they will stay with the lead, but what a bare hair lead that it is here. The bomb will take out 1. 2 are down now for Hades and now Magnolia have the ability to get a lockout and the wipeout as well here, but Hades actually will manage to stay onto the lead here. 10 seconds left. Magnolia basically have to throw themselves onto this point if they want to stay alive. Cooler was already used, so now it is do or die time. Bubbler is available, but will they be able to paint the zone in time? No! Violet with a key pick with that Zipcaster will shut down that comeback attempt, and a comeback attempt of their own that did succeed. Hades, what a way to punch back there late in the game.
Craziest 1-point lead I have ever seen. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that game would be way further. Like, it was not going to be that close. Like, I genuinely did not think it was going to be that close. But Magnolia saying, hey, wait, I have what it takes to step up to the winner's plate and say, hey, I'm gonna kill you. And like, you can see Magnolia's early lead is very much affected by these juniors' bombs, and the way that Tuster is able to go into the zone to be able to pop these strong bubbles and get that good chip on Hades means that Hades has to always be vigilant for any kind of chip. So that means that Junior into that burst bomb, into that pencil, into that machine, it's just chip after chip after chip after chip, which was probably the most annoying thing in the world to deal with. On the other side, for Magnolia, they were feeling really safe for the first half of this game. Like, literally, Hades started winning so many fights. Like, Violet would go in and get a double, and suddenly the entire landscape of the game changed. It was everything, you know, Rocket?
I mean, yeah, we were talking about it, Time. We were talking about how this map can lean itself into situations where the retaking team can have such an advantage, and did we see a lot of zone flipping here by the defending team, and ultimately Hades not the first one to punch onto the scoreboard, but definitely the one to get the finishing blow. As we move on to Barnacle and Dime, Clam Blitz, what are your thoughts on this map mode particularly? Because normally we see this on zones, but Clam Blitz, many differences here?
I mean, Barnacle and Dime has never been in the contention to be voted out of Prism, and I think that there's no reason to get it out. It's not a bad map at all. That being said, I have been pronouncing T-Master's name wrong. It is not Tuster. It is T-Master. Just a reminder to myself. Anyway, we are going to go into this first game. I noticed that Hades has actually swapped from that Splatana Stamper to that Mint Decapitator, which I have heard described as the most skibbity toilet weapon in the game. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure about that comment, but I love the weapon here, and I love the weapon choice picked, especially on a player like Violet. I mean, we saw them going nuclear in the previous round with that Splatana Stamper, but here especially with actually the Zuka, which is pretty interesting because I normally think that you would run the bubble here, trying to counteract what Magnolia was doing with the Junior here, because I love bubble, especially on Clam Blitz, because it just provides so much space in near the goal that allows your team to really not only jump into the bubble, but also allows them to really develop a push here. But developing a push is what Hades is trying to do right now. They have a ball, they have the Clam advantage, but the Zuka will shut down one. The pencil goes down as well. The ball now left on the floor here as Magnolia will be able to push back with that player advantage, and that ball will not be claimed. Now Magnolia will have mid control and the 2-player advantage as well.
This is huge for them. Literally just taking control of this plat. Like, prime real estate here, and gets a free 5 clams for that too. But Trey is not going to let that happen so easily. Popping that Zuka and trying to make sure that their team doesn't lose here. That being said, you know, it's not looking too good for Hades. Here comes this bubble. Here comes these specials. Violet may be fighting under this basket, but all they really need to do on the side of Hades is try and stabilize, to try and stop themselves from losing any more points. And unfortunately, it's not going to look too well for them. You can see on the top right, they're actually trying to set up, but Violet luckily is able to stop them. And now here they are finally starting to stabilize, but Dripsy ends up helping his teammates get a huge pick. And now we're down to 21 in the first 2 minutes, Rocket.
The gates have opened and the bleeding continues here. Magnolia have a ball jumping in here. This could be ending the game here, but no, the ball just overshot by a little bit here. That could have been the killing blow, but I'm sure Magnolia are still fine with that push as a wipeout will ensue in that, but the game could have ended there. But now Hades still hangs on by a thread here with Still about half the match to be played, so there's still plenty of game time left. But even still with that, the lead is a very large one. The Adapt will get 2 with this, and 3 are down, and now Cuber will be the one to put the ball in as a wipeout ensues. Now Hades has an opportunity to push in of their own, and that mistake right there previously for Magnolia's push could be proven fake here, but it will not. Eventually will get the pick there onto Team Master here, but Cuber also has a ball available for Hades to try to get into this, but the ball needs to find the goal fast if they want to keep this open. The Clam will keep it open temporarily, but no, the sloshing machine will take out the ball, and that push will be stopped there, but a great push nonetheless. Still, though, the lead remains in Magnolia's hands.
I really love how quickly Hades acted on, oh, hey, there's a wipeout, immediately gets to the basket, immediately gets the pop, immediately when they realize that they're about to wipe, they get out of there. Look how fast they backed up, how they were able to recover their numbers and still not lose all of mid, and now Magnolia is actually on the back foot as specials are starting to come out, and it looks like they're actually going to get another score. Unfortunately, that is 2 down to the junior, but here we're trading actually back and forth. This Team Master is actually running as far as they can to get away from Adapt, but it's all for naught as here comes members of Hades getting more and more clams into this basket. They may not be able to get a huge burst push like Magnolia, but they're definitely trying to sustain. Here comes this lead by a single clam.
Cuber managing to even things, or to take the lead. I mean, now though, Magnolia, this is the thing about Clam Blitz. Once you attack and get pushed out, lose most of your members, now it is your opponent's turn now to push. Now you need to counter with this push. It is down to nearing the 45-second mark here. Hades needs to pull back in this, and they're mentioning to actually get a little bit of space here, but no, the sneaking ball from the left side. Magnolia will be able to open the goal, but will there be any follow-up here, as the last 2 members of Magnolia here are left to their mid, as they're just being pushed too far away from the goal to really get any value from that push. 30 seconds are left. The ball from Magnolia is shut down. 25 seconds left. It is just left to the pencil and this ball for potentially now an overtime push. This is their last opportunity to get back into this.
Yeah, but this is also, keep in mind, Magnolia is having a hard time stabilizing in mid. They're having a hard time following up with their pushes. They may be able to go far. They may be able to remove Trey from this plat, but again, there's just a huge problem where they literally can't make their way to Hades' basket. It's just too well defended. The only reason why they got that spectacular first push was because Hades got wiped. And here you can see members of Magnolia are actually rushing towards that basket. Here comes one of those jumps, but unfortunately it was just too late. And now we are seeing Hades take game 2 of Winners Finals.
If you're Magnolia, this has to be a little bit heartbreaking. I mean, I can feel it here. You had the opportunity to end that game on that initial first push, but Hades able to respond in kind, and what an onslaught it was. I mean, we're seeing something similar to what we saw in the first game, where Hades has been able to come back with such a vengeance that they are never out of the match, no matter what, no matter the score, no matter what happened in the previous fight. They're able to recollect themselves, push to the goal, and never look back here. This is the vital push here. The ball just a little bit overshot initially here. Not that ball, the other ball near around, I believe, the 15-point mark they were at. They were just almost able to end the match then and there, but Hades, just the ability and the courage from them and the resilience from them really makes them dangerous here. And now we're potentially looking at a sweep here in Winners Finals.
Don't discount them yet, though. You could see actually just barely Magnolia overshot that clam, but just how close that match was, how easily Magnolia was able to take advantage of a wipe like that is huge. Wiping is the worst thing that can happen to a team in this game. Like, arguably, it's painful because when you wipe, you lose so much space. You lose everything you owned, like no house, no money, no nothing. Literally everything. It's gone. So when Magnolia is able to take advantage of that kind of wipe, not a lot of teams are able to do that. And that's why it's so good.
Yeah, 100%. Magnolia not out of it. Down but not out. They have a tough hill to climb, and that will start on game number 3, Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track. Now, this map, it just fits to the theme of Splatoon, in my opinion. It's just embrace chaos. I mean, it is basically a gladiator coliseum in mid. I mean, you have the ability to just pop up from anywhere. It is a giant circle where all hell can break loose, and I love Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker specifically because it has that similar volatility to what we saw on Barnacle and Dime Clams, so we could potentially see another back and forth, very, very hyped up match here.
Oh, I hate this map. I don't know why you're praising it. I think it's really bad. I think it needs to be voted out. Go vote it out right now.
No.
That being said, we are going back into this match. Ooh. I really like how Hades is like switching up their comps just a little bit, but not a lot. Actually, Magnolia is swapping to those V dualies from that splash, meaning they're gonna have a lot less paint, but a lot more aggression. Like, look already, Adapt has already gone down on this Rainmaker shield. On the right, you can see members of Hades are kind of scattered now because they're losing mid, but this cooler is going to try and stabilize them. Magnolia already taking a huge part of mid, and having specials up is going to make the difference here. Like, Hades may be already launching the Izukas, but like, look already, Magnolia gets a pick, gets this Rainmaker, almost makes it to that bubble, and it's just this pencil, and this pencil needs to back up to make anything happen. T-Master is here already, like, everything's happening. You can see Trey is setting up for an excellent shark in this corner, just in case Magnolia pushes forward. But here comes Violet actually with this hammer, trying to get a pick off the members of Magnolia. Almost, but not quite. Like, literally millimeters away. That being said, Hades is not going to let this happen without a fight. But here comes Brave, picking up this Rainmaker just barely.
Yeah, Magnolia are being able to strike first. The first checkpoint is very typically not that difficult to get. Usually you have to win a team fight and then it's basically yours, but the true battle starts at this choke point here, going from the first checkpoint to the goal. This is where it gets really brutal here, though. Hades trying to get their first score onto the board. They will manage to pick up the Rainmaker. The Splatana will fall in the backline, though, and the Zuka just be coming out dangerously here, just interrupting any chance of Hades recollecting themselves. Magnolia are fighting with everything on the line, and that's basically how they have to play it, because everything rests on this match. You have to take things one step at a time. Now, Magnolia and the rest of the team members trying to pave a path here for Parachu to go in, but there is the stamp to quickly shut down, and Hades, something I want to mention about their comp, they're running double stamp, so it's a little reminiscent of the freaking Bad Piggies. That's the team that you could see here, and it's very aggressive, but so far, Magnolia have been able to shut down their aggressiveness.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the way, actually, they're pushing up with their teammates, like Adapt behind, like, painting up, like, giving their teammates support just in case anybody rushes in. And here comes Violet, actually, in this corner. They have this hammer. They are ready to actually go in at any moment. Unfortunately, goes down, and Adapt here with another hammer actually is like, okay, you know what? I'll do it myself. Throws this hammer, doesn't get a pick. Nobody gets this checkpoint. And Magnolia might be in the winning hand here, actually, as Adapt might be trying to get as many people as possible. Never mind, literally single-handedly turning this game around. Here comes their teammates jumping to them. It's huge.
2 minutes left here, so less than half the match to be played, but Adapt is going in with the hammer, trying to pave a path for the other members of Hades, but no, the Rainmaker will be stolen from under their noses here. Brave will be found, though, from that stamp, but the Rainmaker actually being taken down. Violet, the other hammer to this 1-2 combo, could potentially find themselves a nice flank here, especially with Adapt jumping in as well. This could provide so much of a distraction for the rest of Hades to go into, and actually it provides a pick as well, but the pencil goes down on the side of Hades, so maybe a little bit slow to momentum here, but Magnolia does lose 2 members here. Trey just trying to get near to this checkpoint here, and Adapt trying to pave the way for them as well, as they are oh so near that checkpoint, just trying to find the space, and they will eventually pop the checkpoint.
Yeah, Hades is doing a great job using this flank to dagger Magnolia, to divide their resources so that they're unable to focus on this Rainmaker. Here comes this hammer, actually excellently protecting this Rainmaker. Unfortunately, goes down, but 26 is a pretty decent push on this map. Violet is actually using this hammer, trying to get just a little bit more mileage. Unfortunately, goes down. Now, Hades is going to be a little bit on the back foot. They're going to be trying to protect their lead. They're not going to play super, super dangerously here because they only have a minute left in this game. They're going to be trying to build specials, or as I say that, actually, members of them start going down. It's going to be a little rough here. Like, this They have Zuka on Magnolia. They're starting to build their crab, their bubbles, and members of Hades go down one after another. Like, Huber might be trying their best to carry right now, but members going down, especially when there's 30 seconds left, is usually a red flag.
This is where it gets anxiety-inducing. This is where you know that one mistake from Magnolia could prove the end of this set here, as all it takes is one player from Magnolia, from Hades, to get back around and get the pick, especially if it's that pencil right there. Especially if it's Cuber shutting that push down. The Rainmaker needs to be popped, but no, the paint is there to stop it, and the Rainmaker will just barely not being able to pick up. It's just a little too late, and Hades, managing to stay on, will manage to sweep this set 3-0, and what an impressive way they've done it.
The thing is despite it being 3-0, it was still incredibly close. Magnolia almost knocked out once, and on that third game, you could see in the way that they were holding that Rainmaker at the end, it was literally that close in a sea of purple that if they just painted and rushed forward, they just grabbed that Rainmaker and popped it a little bit sooner. If only they had one more sub of Super Jump, they probably would have gotten the lead there. And that's what makes games at this level so hype. I am so happy these teams started playing in Prism Break.
Yeah, 100%. The 3-0 scoreboard does not do its justice of how close this match was, but Cuber at the very end, just massive love to all backlines, coming in clutch for their team, shutting down that last second push from Magnolia and kicking them down to losers brackets. But now Hades have punched their ways into winners bracket finals, into the grand finals, I mean. Yeah, so we'll see them later for sure, but Magnolia, it's not over for them. They still have a chance to fight, but now it is their last opportunity. Yeah,
that being said, we are gonna go straight to our loser semis match. Actually, they've been waiting for let's take a look. They've been waiting for around 5 minutes, you know, not that many minutes. But I would like to mention a star that we saw just a little bit earlier. Incognito is going to be in this match versus the Marcus Brigade, which is going to be Minty, Devade, Tifereth, and Osa. Actually, I know a lot of these people as well. But Rocket, were you watching the stream we had Incognito on?
I was a little bit, but something interesting actually I want to mention about this matchup is we've seen this matchup in this bracket before. Incognito beat the Marcus Brigade 2-0 in a previous match. I believe it was it was winners bracket round 2 here, where they were able to win 2-0, and we are looking at yet again a 3-game set, not best of 5, best of 3 here. So maybe that we can see a little bit of we definitely see a bunch of history between both these teams. These teams have gotten a little bit of a chance to get to know each other, so now we could be in for a very, very interesting set here as we start on Robo Ramen Zones. I'm pretty sure these teams will kind of get the idea of what the other is running, no?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, they've seen each other before. They know each other's tricks. And the Marcus Brigade is really going to try and come back, you know, get that real good promotion for that tournament going as well. Which, by the way, is actually running on another channel, Ammo Nights, if you'd like to go check them out. That being said, Minty is actually, I recognize them. They were on a Div 2 team called Tylenol Takers. And Devade, I believe, I don't quite remember what team they were on. I swear they were on Road Rage, but I might be wrong. Do not take my word for it. And Osa actually formerly ran another tournament called Poker Table, which has some of the cleanest and awesomest graphics ever, but I'm not sure if they run anymore. On the other hand, Incognito is an incredibly strong team, extremely coordinated, plays in almost every event together. Honestly, it's really impressive. I'd like to give a shout out to their Pencil Sky, who I swear they were getting picks left and right, getting really good chip and just backing up when they really needed to. And it's a really impressive quality to have, especially when you're a backline.
Yeah, backlines are the spine. They are the backbone to teams. They are so important, which is why they are so important to take out if you're on the other side as well. But like you mentioned, Sky has been able to really maneuver well and be active for their team and allow Incognito to get their pushes going and to really hold firm here. But a little side note, I love how that team you mentioned, Tylenol Takers, that sounds like such a junior strap team for me for some reason. I guess it's just the alliteration. But I was like, hey,
they are a pickup.
I mean, hey, it sounds, it's a really good team name. But yeah, we have Robo Ramen as our first map here. Any thoughts on this map? Because it is a very interesting map for sure, especially with that long flank route.
Oh my god, Robo, I am of the opinion that if you go too far below, 9 times out of 10 you're throwing. Like, why would you ever go on like that bottom part beneath elbow unless you drop and then specifically throw strikes on elbow just so the enemy team is like, oh my god, I need to move now. Like, I just don't get it, really. Maybe this is the me thing. Maybe this is because I'm an Octoshot player. You know, it might be a little different. I do appreciate a good elbow camp right below it, right? Like you have like a blaster or something like a brush or, you know, anything that could really shoot up reasonably. That's a really key area to control on this map, right? It's like, if you don't have elbow on the enemy side, you are not in control of that zone.
Yeah, and we're seeing here the Brush and the Dapple duel is a very aggressive comp here we're seeing from Incognito. On the other side, a little bit more standard. We do see the M-Parry duel is pretty fairly uncommon, but not too uncommon to see. A nice addition for sure. I mean, that was one of the weapons I picked up initially just because of the double roll straight up into the splashdown because, haha, funny meme, run into it and just bash your head into the enemy team. But we're seeing here already Marcus Brigade are able to maintain control of the zone, and also temporarily, but now Incognito are able to go in, and there goes Joey in trying to get something with the reslider, but will go down. Incognito will take the quick lead here, though, as they have all their members still alive, but yet Marcus Brigade are not giving this up. Booyah Bomb is popped as well. You see the jump coming in as well. The dualies will manage to take one, the trade as well, and it is just a back and forth ink splatfest over here.
Splatfest reference. I do want to mention, I thought it was really cool that Osa started camping that elbow with that bucket. Like, that is what I'm talking about. Speaking of what I'm talking about, Joey gets a triple in zone, just running in. It's literally just the pencil on Marcus Brigade. They're going to have to, like, lose at least a little bit of space. Here comes Saturn trying to make a move. Doesn't get to pop that bubble in time. Unfortunately, that means Joey will also go down with them. But Sky here is doing the right thing and holding that zone as best they can. Saturn and the Junior are actually in this elbow, just trying their best to stop members of Marcus Brigade. Look at how all of them actually turn around and deal with this Zipcaster. Unfortunately, Incognito could not get any mileage out of it. When Joey is coming in with this Reef Slider, unfortunately, does not cap this zone, but that is a good position for them to be in as they recap that zone again.
I mean, the damage was done already, managing to find 2 off of that. Joey went nuclear, being able to just get that, and now Incognito try to maintain it, but no, you were mentioning at the beginning of the Sky is just so deadly on that pencil. Will take down that member of Incognito, and now the zone is up for grabs still here, as back and forward it has been. Sky on Incognito, just trying to hold firm as their other pencil here. I can't pronounce it. Hakma? I'm going to say Hakma. Hakma. Okay. Just making sure Hakma will try to fall back a little bit, trying to be the anchor for their team here. But now Incognito have the opportunity to flip the lead here, but Marcus Brigade have those tri-strikes available to try to stop it. You see that Sprinkler up there can prove really, really useful here on these lockout situations. There goes the strikes here, and there they will be deployed. The cooler being popped as well, but the zone still not flips. 2 members fall for Marcus Brigade, and now Incognito are really being able to pull away from this now.
Really love Joey's aggressive play. They almost lived that too. And look at how they were able to allow their teammates to get a better position on that elbow. Yeah, they might be leaving that elbow. I'm not really sure why, actually. There's 15 seconds left on that zone. I mean, if Joey farms a Reef Slider and literally pops it on zone at the 5-second tick, it's kind of over. Oh, and here comes this splash and gets a kill on the zone. Booyah on the zone. But is it enough? Joey is actually coming back, and they do get control of that zone just at the end. Even though the Marcus Brigade threw everything they had at that zone, Joey was just too strong. And by Joey, I mean Incognito.
Yeah, they had enough ink. They had enough ink to throw in. Marcus Brigade had enough, but they just didn't have the players, as they all fell late there. But really well done from Incognito to stay in it. Now, though, it is do or die time. Marcus Brigade is down 1, but it is not over yet. That opportunity for them to punch back on tower control, Inkblot Art Academy, which I think I love this map. I mean, I'm just biased towards tower control maps because I am a Blaster player, so screw you, you cannot stay onto the tower, I'm just going to exist. But we're seeing here Joey's presence known there. In that replay, you saw taking down 3 members of Marcus Brigade and forcing and allowing Incognito and allowing Incognito to really pull away from this. I mean, they were down here around the midpoint, but afterwards, they just never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, for Inkblot Art Academy, I'm sorry, hi, sorry, I'm normal. Incognito honestly did a really good job of holding that zone. Honestly, like, even aside, like, we got to see a lot of Joey that game. Let's not lie, right? Like, the triple into double into, like, harassment, and then it allows players like Milotic to get into their base. It allows players like their junior to get into their base, and it was like Saturn, yes, the junior, to get into the base. It was so clean and perfect. That's exactly why Dapple's Nouveau is so good right now. Like, you can enable such harassment, and then to get in with that Reef Slider, to dodge roll out of it immediately, it's beautiful. But we might see a different story on Inkblot Art Academy Tower Control, because I am a firm believer that this map is actually the final destination of Splatoon. And what I mean by that is, in order to have a dominant push on this map, you are going to need to showcase every step of your fundamentals in order to get that KO. You're going to be able to time your specials to get onto places like bats, and you have to be able to control mid from that left or right stack, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the interesting thing about this map is the tower path is going up an incline here, so the elevation disadvantage that you're already facing is not only a metaphorical hill to climb, but a quite literal hill to climb, as that is something that really challenges these players' mechanical skills and really their ability to use their specials wisely, because I believe these tri-strikes coming in from Marcus Brigade could be different here. We see Osa switching onto that bucket here, maybe could provide a little bit of support on the side as well, but early on, Incognito will take first blood, but right back at you, Marcus Brigade will take down that junior, but the bubble will remain intact because of that cooler. Tri-strikes are going out like mentioned, but the specials are all online for Incognito, barely dodging that Reef Slider and taking out Joey there. That was huge. Now, Marcus Brigade will be the ones onto the tower and will try to find space to operate here.
Oh my god, that Reef Slider! That being said, though, unfortunately, members of Marcus Brigade are unable to pick up that kill. Joey is just causing havoc here. Unfortunately for Incognito, they do get picked off that tower. That first checkpoint is broken, even if it doesn't matter all that much. Here comes the splashdown. Marcus Brigade is now showing their true dominance, getting into that bat so quickly, getting that pick so well, but Saturn has a bubble, and they are able to, unfortunate that they almost had that if only they popped their bubble. Incognito is really on the back foot. They've lost their bats. They're unable to push back in. You can see just how quickly the members of Marcus Brigade are coming for those bats. Like, how quickly they're able to say, oh, hey, yeah, I see you're not here. That's mine now, you know?
Yeah. And now they are able to push towards that second checkpoint. No one's on the tower yet, though, so the tower will move back a little bit here, actually moving a lot of the way back here. Most likely being pushed back to mid, actually, as Incognito are able to find their steps here, but still, Marcus Brigade are still in it, but actually, no, it is just left to Hakuma in the mid here on this left stack to really operate. Will find a nice pick onto that left side. 2 players are down for Incognito, so the push is not over yet, but still unable to get that second checkpoint. Incognito are holding firm here.
I really like how quickly Marcus Brigade is able to identify and destroy weaknesses on the side of Incognito. It's actually very impressive. Like, the way that they were able to get into bats, to hold bats, like, and get such a good push. 55 is kind of strong for this soon into the match, but they were unable to stabilize despite having bats for such a long time, right? Like, they need to use their specials in coordination. They need to get together and just say, okay, here's this game plan, right? Because they can get into bats no problem. They can, oh my god! Joey actually with that strong Reef Slider, pushing in on left, getting this left stack, which is crucial in order to get out of mid, right?
Yeah, you mentioned the first initial push coming in from Marcus Brigade, but now Incognito with an opportunity to strike as Sky gets hunted down there. from the backline. That is a huge pick for Marcus Brigade, and now actually they have an opportunity to kick Incognito back out of mid here as members are falling left, right, and center, and it just forces them to fall back for this defense. A wonderful counter from Marcus Brigade to make sure they don't even get anything onto the first checkpoint, but now the specials are all online for Incognito to try to get back into this. The Zipcaster, the Brush, trying to find an opportunity to strike, trying to Spider-Man around, but no, will get quickly shut down by Marcus Brigade. Another will be taken down, the Junior Keeley. So now it is just left to Joey and Sky, the Dapple and the Pencil, to really try to recollect it. That is a good start, taking down Minty here. Saturn has come back and now has taken down that Dualies here. So now it has just been back and forth in mid here, but now Incognito will find their bearings, will find their steps to get this first checkpoint.
I honestly, Incognito is having a lot of trouble getting into Marcus Brigade's bats. The fundamentals that Marcus Brigade has is something that Incognito clearly lacks. They clearly need to use their specials to get into bats, but they're just not sure how, even if they have the resources to do it. And as I say this, Milotic actually getting a crazy double, and here comes Saturn, is going to try and ride this tower. This bubble is going to be huge. An unfortunate splashdown getting Joey, who was jumping to this tower. This is huge for Marcus Brigade. They are not going to allow members of Incognito to break this checkpoint.
Yeah, 30 seconds left here. A 10-point lead in favor of Marcus Brigade here. The specials are coming in online, though. You see the crab, you saw the cooler being popped as well, and you see the Tri-Slosher have those strikes, the GG strikes. The old deadly GG strikes. You have to deal with them, but two players actually fall for Incognito here. 10 seconds left. Sky is just dancing around onto the tower here, trying to desperately stay alive, and there are the strikes. There are the strikes coming out from Osa. They're trying to hunt them down as well. The Zipcaster, Milotic, was trying to hunt them down. Will manage to find the trying to find more as well, and 3 are actually down for Marcus Brigade. It's just left to Osa, who can actually now wipe out. This is huge. Now the opportunity for Incognito to take the lead, and just like that, now up 2-0 and winning the set.
That was insane! Honestly, the way that the members of Marcus Brigade just slowly collapsed one by one because it was getting close to time, because they started getting scared, their attention started lacking, everything just happened to them, right? I'm not even sure what was going on. Like, Milotic literally getting that insane picks with that Zipcaster into their team, pushing forward, getting the space that they so desperately didn't know they needed until they had it. And suddenly Marcus Brigade didn't know how to react to somebody else knowing the things that they knew, and everything happened, and then they wiped, and then the checkpoint was all for the taking.
This is the opportunity for stars to rise, and Milotic shined during that. Milotic just being able to Keeley take down those tri-strikes before causing further damage, and not only that, being able to get the Zipcaster as well, causing so much havoc there, allowing the rest of Incognito to, like you mentioned, really just converge onto that tower. And once they got that wipeout, it was just smooth sailing from there. Incognito were able to punch back. You see here, with a minute left, they didn't have the first checkpoint yet, but they were able to get it on that push, and then afterwards you see here Milotic managing to find that pick there, and just all hell breaks loose, but all purple, all Incognito.
Yeah, wow, this kind of situation really makes you think, man, I really needed to hold. Yeah, you can, like, just a little bit longer just to get another special to make sure that my win is guaranteed. And unfortunately, they were unable to guarantee the win, which means Incognito is going to go to losers finals here.
Yeah, they still remain firm. They still remain alive here, and actually, now we're going to see a very interesting map between Magnolia versus Incognito, and yet again we're seeing a repeat and another matchup that we already saw initially. We saw in winners bracket semis. I believe we saw it on stream here. Magnolia. I just had like a lapse there. Magnolia won 3-1 against Incognito, and we could potentially see if we are seeing revenge here for sure, as we are in best of 5 now. This matchup has a lot more on the stake here, because the loser of this will be eliminated from the tournament, while the winner will be facing our number 1 seed, who is sitting there waiting pretty in grand finals, number 1 Hades.
Yeah, I mean, between Magnolia and Incognito, right? Incognito is a team that takes things how do I put it? When they get a push going, they're able to very easily snowball it, even though they like when things happen, they can take advantage of them really quick. Their reactive play is stellar, but on the other side, Magnolia is so fast. Like whenever they push up, whenever they push in, the only thing that was really stopping them in that Hades game was the fact that Hades knew how to react to a team that was running in like that, right? And even what you could see when Hades wipes, when Incognito wipes, they just run in, they say, nom nom nom, all of that is mine. And that's what makes the difference, really, right?
Yeah, 100%, but we will just have to wait and see, as I believe we're just going to take a very, very, very short break before this winner's bracket finals, or the losers bracket finals, before we go into grand finals. I am just losing my marbles here, but before we do that, we will take a very, very momentary break before I lose my sanity. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Prism Break number 12 here. Rocket and Time still here, and we are seeing a little bit of a revenge match here. Incognito trying to get revenge on Magnolia for knocking them down into loser's bracket in that semifinal matchup here. I think we're going to be in for some very, very back and forth gameplay, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I agree, Rocket. Like, okay, we've seen both of these teams face off, and both of these teams have actually faced off before. Their Sendo chat is pretty fun and very well, right? Last time, I believe Magnolia actually took it over Incognito. So this is actually a grudge match we're seeing. That being said, we are going to go straight into our first game. It's going to be on Zone's Mako, which we have also seen before.
I love Mako Mart in general. Not typically seen on Zones. I would prefer Tower, but Zones is always a nice choice here. Looking at the comps here, we have that typical Incognito aggressive comp here. And oh, never mind. We will be taking a momentary break before that first match. But besides that, taking a look at what we have as a set as a whole in terms of maps, we have Game 2 Humpback Pump Track, that Gladiator map that I know that you don't like on Rainmaker. Game number 3, Tower Control on Hagglefish, normally on Zones, but I'd love to see Tower as well. Very interesting there in terms of how teams will manage that elevation disadvantage. Game number 4, if necessary, will be Zones on Umami here, having 2 zones on the side, and number 5, game number 5 that is, will be Scourged Gorge Clams. And actually here, we're going to be having a little bit of a switch up. Time will be out and substituting them. Who will be joining me?
Hello, the classic topic is back. You know, me and Rocket are always here every Thursday, every Tuesday, except for last Tuesday, but we're back at it.
Yes, and back, and what a wonderful time to be joining us as well. We are in the very high stakes moments now. We are in losers bracket finals. It is do or die time for these teams for their opportunity to face off against our number 1 seed. Need I remind you, Hades there, who knocked down Magnolia down here. So a little bit of pressure being placed on both teams, a little bit of, would you say, motivation to just try to fight back there for their opportunity to win this entire thing.
Yeah, and so you were describing game number 1, which is Mako Zones, and you already know my feelings on this map mode. I'm not a big Zones guy. I think Zones is the worst mode, or worst competitive mode in the game. I'm going to die on that hill, but that's another story. And then you got Mako Mart, which I get it. It's a very good map. It's just not personally for me, even though I do play buckets. It's just not for me.
Yeah, but in my opinion, I just love to see the elevation differences and how these teams will maneuver between it, because normally on zones you really have that zone area being that flat area of land that really can be walled off, like you see maybe in modes like in maps like Hagglefish Market. But no, you see not 1 but 2 inclined elevations each respective stack that can provide that weird little height advantage that could really determine how these teams really try to maneuver that. I mean, buckets, like you mentioned, could have a little bit of a play here, but not only that, blasters as well.
Yeah, I could see blasters. I even see like Carbon Roller. These very, very quick to kill weapons like Carbon, like V Roller, like even Ink Brush that can sneak around, be a little shark, be a little annoying, be a little rat here and there. Could be very, very useful. But enough speculation. Let's get into our losers finals. Magnolia in the cyan there with the washing machine, and on the side of Incognito, they were talking about the brush earlier, or just a second ago. There it is. There's a brush, a very aggressive comp from Incognito with the reef slider dabbles. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, this is what they love to run. This is what they're standardly run this entire tournament. And now, I love the combination, especially on this map, with those Tri-Strikes, with that Reef Slider. We've seen Joey provide so much value, not only with that special, but they're just the ability and the aggressive nature of those Dapple Dualies, but we're seeing already Magnolia are able to get the zone, but that might not last long here, but the specials are being popped to try to remain it as such. The Zipcaster going in will find that pencil. The brush will go huge there in the backline, but Brave still staying brave. Nope, will be found out by Joey on those Dapple Dualies, and just like that, Incognito will take that lead right out of Magnolia's hands.
Yeah, and I think this is what, from the outset, what Incognito's comp is really good at. It's just getting in your face. They do have the Dapples the first way in. They do have the Zipcaster with the Octoburst, a kind of sneaky weapon that can just shark around and do whatever it wants. But Magnolia on their side are trying to get in, and it's gonna be a little bit difficult. It's not gonna be impossible, of course, because they do outrange Incognito on average, so they can just bully them away. As we do see one is gonna be able to jump out, but Magnolia is this it's very even in paints. They both have pencils, which are very, very huge. They both have a splash, and they both have a, while not, though I think Magnolia does have the advantage with a junior against the Dapples, but so far it's just been a really back and forth as Magnolia is able to eat through their penalty and get scoring started.
Yeah, this bubble on this right stack here you see being played is just providing so much space, but Joey says, nope, that special will be shut down, though. Joey will be taken out in the thick of it, and now Incognito will throw in these tri-strikes, will try to contest the zone a little bit, and there they go. They will force the penalty onto Magnolia, so the lead still into Incognito's favor here, but still Magnolia are not willing to give them any space, any time to really set up here, as just like that, Magnolia will flip the zone in a matter of seconds. It has been so back and forth. I punch, you punch, and counteracting each other really well.
Yeah, and I think the real ace up their sleeve for Magnolia is their chip damage. Nice skill there by Brave with the crab, but their chip damage, they do have the machine, they do have the bomb from the junior, they do have the burst bombs from the splash, but as soon as I say that, that's going to be 3 down for Magnolia. Incognito going in, Joey rolling head first on their keyboard, and we'll get the pick on the pencil for that wipeout, and now for Incognito, an opportunity to kind of counteract what Magnolia did to them. But this has been a very, very back and forth game, and with the cooler on the way, this might be even closer.
Yeah, Joey using that that reef slider to try to maintain presence onto that zone, but still on the other side here, you see the amount of ink coming in, and counteracting this, Incognito will throw their strikes as well. It has just been special trade-off after special trade-off here. The Octobrush will find the pencil there, Keeley taking out their back line, but still unable to willingly give up the zone. It is still up for grabs in mid here. We're seeing both pencils basically just fighting over the same area here, trying to operate, but Incognito will actually maintain a little bit of an advantage here in terms of ink at least, and will force Magnolia back ever so slightly, as they are 2 players down here. So now Incognito can take this lead, especially since they're out of their penalty.
Yeah, and what I really want to credit Incognito for is them doing a really, really good job of kind of shutting down the Trizuka from Dripsy there, as every time that we've seen them pop it, they've been going down immediately, whether it be to a Zipcaster, whether it be to the Dapples. They've just done a really good job of trying to make them as inefficient as possible, and so far it's working out in their favor. Incognito gets it down to 22 down, 3 down on the side of Magnolia, no one in sight. It's only the junior there in the backside with the flank is gonna get one, but at the focus zone, they're gonna get collapsed on. However, that's stalled just enough for the team to jump back. Melodic there with the Zipcaster popping and getting 1, getting 2. Parachute's gonna go down, and that will be game for Incognito in a very, very close fashion.
We see it time and time again. Milotic on that Octobrush went huge there, being able to find 2, and not only that, provide the pressure onto that pencil to force the attention away from the zone and allow their team to come back in, paint over the zone, and take the game. I mean, we saw at the beginning around the first 4 minutes of that was very back and forward, and then at the very end, eventually Incognito were able to really find an opening and never look back there. That they just found that crease they needed, and hey, they're looking pretty good now, especially since Magnolia did beat them in a previous matchup here, but now Incognito definitely learning from their mistakes.
I mean, that game just kind of proved that they played really well. They bided their time, and yes, they did lose a couple of fights as we're seeing on the replay here. They lost that fight to Magnolia to kind of lose the lead. But I think once Magnolia got to, I want to say it was 38 or 36, one of those two. Oh, 36. Once they got to 36, it just became incognito all day, all night. They just didn't let go. Yes, Magnolia did kind of challenge them in zone, try to force zone out of their hands, but it didn't work in their favor. But we're gonna have to switch up something, because as we go to game number 2, Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, early on I want to say this is in Incognito's favor.
I mean, yeah, you have that aggressive comp here coming from Joey, and you have that brush that we saw go huge there for Milotic. It's very much leaning that way, but I mean, you've seen how Magnolia has played. They have the ability to counteract what Incognito likes to bring with them, and on a volatile map mode such as Humpback Pump Track, anything can happen in a matter of seconds. So I can see how you're leaning towards Incognito because they have that aggressive presence, but can they push through yet again to take this set up to 2-0 against Magnolia? That is the big question here, is they've been able to really match their energy, really match their presence, and match their pressure.
Yeah, whenever I say Incognito because of the brush, of course, and you can go on that left side flank to kind of throw off your opponent, which is going to be very, very useful. But as we see from Magnolia, no comp changes. Actually, no, for the side of Incognito, we're going to see the Kraken 96. So a bit of a more forceful way in. Oh, and a Zap, so a much more fast-paced comp. They want to get into Magnolia's face. They want to get there as soon as possible, and they want to stay there for as long as possible.
Yeah, actually amping up the aggressiveness here, having that 96 be the long-range weapon, very interesting here. But so far, Magnolia have been able to put the pressure onto Incognito, being able to get the Rainmaker first, trying to provide a window to open. The bubble will be placed, but the Junior will fall. A Sky will actually pop that Kraken and will take out the Rainmaker. They are now left to its own devices. Milotic won't find value from that Zipcaster, but still, Magnolia are still in this. They will not give any ground. Incognito loses 2 members, as now they are able to recollect themselves. Incognito gets wiped out, and now the checkpoint is wide open for them, and now an opportunity to potentially snowball this.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the trade-off when you go this more, not short-range comp, but this kind of not as backline reliant comp, because if you don't get the Pental out of there, if you don't move them, they're just going to run right over you, as Parachu is going to do just that, getting it down to 30 for Magnolia. The Junior jumping in, trying to get one's gonna get one, looking for the double, not able to get down. Joey, though, able to kind of save or stop the bleeding for now, and it looks like Magnolia are going to be finally forced out. Dripsy, the last one on the elbow, is going to be forced away. However, they're going to have a Bazooka in a second, so you have to be very, very careful of that. But that was a really strong opening for Magnolia, as Incognito is trying to get them out. The Crab is going to be popped, and this is very dangerous for Incognito.
Yeah, Incognito, though, electing to try to take that right side, not trying to find an opportunity, and an opportunity they have found, as they are now able to get their checkpoint of their own. The Reslider in there will take out a member of the Brush, but still, Magnolia are down 2 players. The jump will be had, and here a potential lead switch if they can continue to move forward, but no, the Rainmaker is quickly taken out. Magnolia are able to rally onto it, but this push is far from over. Incognito continuing to make their presence known, and now the lead is lost. Incognito are trying to go for it all, but no, they won't manage to make it in time. But actually now a second attempt could prove fatal here, but continuously Magnolia are on it.
I mean, I think this game has kind of shown the pros and the cons of being super aggressive. Sometimes, if it doesn't work out in your favor, you're just gonna go down, as we see right there. Magnolia is gonna get the wipe on Incognito, but we saw how quickly they pushed up, how quickly that momentum shifted, how quickly they were able to take the lead, and now all of that pressure is on Magnolia's shoulders to kind of counteract super quickly. But now they have to be super worried, because Incognito's gonna have their specials at the ready. Joey going in, gonna get the Rainmaker. That's gonna be 2 down for the side of Magnolia. Incognito, though, is still here trying to do something.
Yeah, still trying to stay in it. That Kraken will get shut down though, but Magnolia still have an opportunity to continue this push, but will the Rainmaker be had? No, the Rainmaker shield actually takes out that Junior. That is huge because no more bubble can be had here, but continuously Milotic is continuously trying to bring the pressure to Magnolia here as Incognito are comfortably in the lead, but they are not giving up their aggression here. This Junior, though, will manage to take out Willow, who was carrying that Rainmaker, and now Magnolia are just trying to find an opportunity to stabilize this game. Still plenty of time to do it, still a minute 15 left, but it needs to happen soon.
I mean, yeah, because if it doesn't, then it can be really, really dangerous. Because if you're a Magnolia, you kind of have to rely on your pencil just being that supportive weapon. You have to, or just a direct shot by the Bazooka, I guess. Nice job by Dripsy there for the direct. But yeah, if you're a Magnolia, you can't really get run over. You need to play a little bit slower. You need to play not into Incognito's hands, because if you let them take the fight to your own to your backyard, to your court, to your plat, you're going to lose because they can just run you over again and again and again and again. So if you are Magnolia, you have to slow this game down. I know the time is not on their side. They have 30 seconds left. They need to get something going. They need a good opening, and that's a good one there with already one going down.
Yeah, we're nearing the crunch time though, so now Magnolia needs to pick up this Rainmaker, but we see Incognito just waiting in the wings, and there is their time to strike. The Rainmaker is quickly taken out, 10 seconds left. The combination of the Zipcaster and that Reef Slider can prove deadly. 1, 2, 3 fall down. It's just left to that Junior, but it will not be enough. The Kraken popped as well just to secure that round. Now Incognito up 2-0, and we're seeing a completely different set to how this played out previously in Winner's Bracket.
Okay, now, like I said earlier, this game was kind of the yin and yang of playing an aggressive comp, because at the beginning this was all Magnolia. They got to 30, they looked really, really dominant. They were looking like they were going to steamroll over Incognito's more aggressive switch up. But in that second half, it took one push to get them down to 5, and then from then on it was, how can Magnolia respond? Because in reality, they really couldn't, since they didn't have that all-out aggression that Incognito kind of showed off there. They kind of had to play the game slower, and since they had to play the game slower, if Incognito just rushed them down, there wasn't a whole lot they can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, you put in high risk, high reward, and at the beginning of that, it looked like it didn't pay off, but at around the midpoint, they really set the pace with that push up until the 5 point. I mean, they were just throwing themselves at that last checkpoint and throwing themselves at that Rainmaker, and hey, it got a little extra points for them and showed them how aggressive they can play. Now it is do or die time for them. Now looking at game number 3, Hagglefish Market Tower Control. I believe this map mode has actually been played between both these teams. Yes, that has been previously, and who won that? It was Incognito.
Alright, well, Rocket, I think you know my thoughts on this map already. I have explained it many a time. I'll explain it one more for those who don't know. This map is the Salt and Pepper, the Marvel movies, the vanilla ice cream, the plain white rice. It is the most basic map, but it is tower control, so it's a bit more seasoning to it, so it's a bit more interesting. However, for the most part, the first checkpoint is kind of the hardest or easiest to get to. The second checkpoint, of course, is going to be the hardest because that's going to be the really, really big choke point. But we do see a switch up from Magnolia here, going with the Rapid Blaster Pro Deco, the longest name in the game for no apparent reason, as use of the angle shooter, the use of just being a blaster, and just the whales will be very, very useful for just getting Incognito off a tower.
Long name, but also long range. This could provide the opportunity for them to really disorientate Sky, who has been a wonderful backline for Incognito, has been providing so much presence and just structure to what Incognito likes to do, which is just run at you and challenges you to beat them on. And with their speed, so far, they have been left pretty well favored, but now we're seeing Magnolia actually do provide a little bit of presence here in mid, but Joey will manage to almost find one, but no, actually Team Master will stay alive in that finding 2. How did they do that, but now that can provide the opportunity for Magnolia to stay back into this, but no, not if the Octobrush has anything to say about it. Not if they are there.
I mean, yeah, that was a very unfortunate for Joey there. That's just Reef Slider being Reef Slider. But Magnolia, thankfully, if you're incognito, they didn't do a lot of damage. They didn't even get to the first checkpoint. So now that buffer zone between the mid and the first checkpoint, that's kind of like the easy stuff. Right, once they get to that first checkpoint, unfortunate kill there on Dripsy. Once they get to that first checkpoint, then it becomes a little bit harder. It becomes a little bit more challenging. But I'm seeing right here, Incognito with a very, very quick response. They're gonna take an initial, or take the lead back. Actually, trying to get to this first checkpoint, they're gonna get to it. They do have Sky there on the pencil, just doing what pencils do. Just kind of sit back, sit on tower, and just give like very free jumps to their teammates, and they're gonna get through that first checkpoint and make their way towards the second.
Yeah, Cooler popped as well. This momentum can really shift. Joey there with the Reef Slider there, creating so much space and leaving Parachu with no space to go. Will get taken out by Milotic with that brush as well, but they are quickly taken down as well as now Magnolia are able to really rally behind that and now try to make a push back towards mid, but Sky yet again so dangerous on that pencil. It is a no fly zone there if Sky is waiting in the reins, but now the tower will be moving back to mid here, and actually no, Incognito are not giving up on it at all.
I mean, yeah, they're 2 down, 3 down. Sky's the last one left. Magnolia may have an opportunity to get back into the game, because after that first push in the last, or in the first like 30 seconds to a minute, they haven't really been that on tower. They haven't really been able to play objective, though with the bubble on tower that might change as they're able to get to the first checkpoint. Brave and Parachu both on the tower, make it go by quicker. They're gonna get through that relatively easily, though Joey here does have a Reef Slider at the ready. It does get popped, does not find anybody. They are going to stay alive somehow. They're going to go down eventually, and Magnolia's push that may be over Milotic here on the brush, unfortunately, is going to go down again. Teamster on the junior with the tower and a bubble, they be just giving a free point, I guess. Unfortunately, Bubble's going to get shredded, only get down to 45 before the push for Magnolia is going to be stopped. Brave jumping out, and that will be it for Magnolia's push.
Yeah, but still a great push nonetheless, but you need to get past that second checkpoint if you want to match what Incognito is doing. Still plenty of time to do it, though. The Tri-Strikes are coming in on the side of Incognito. Cooler being popped on the side of Magnolia as well to try to stabilize themselves. That Reef Slider will find one, but Joey will fall to that sloshing machine there now. That tower is still remaining in mid, but Incognito will lose 2 members here. Sky is still keeping an eye on it, still keeping watch, being that guardian of that tower, trying to provide the jumps as well here. A minute left now. Magnolia are able to develop a little bit of a push, but Keeley, that bubble is available as well.
Yeah, and if you're Magnolia, every second that you're not on tower, you're not pushing, is gonna be wasted, because you know Incognito's gonna fight like hell to keep tower. You know Joey's gonna run in there and just try to cause some havoc, as they do right here, getting 1, getting 2 before going down. You know Sky's gonna be playing laser tag a little bit and just sitting in by the tower and making sure you cannot beat or cannot pass. So you just know that if you're Magnolia, you're gonna have to do a lot. You do have a bubble at the ready, you do have some aggressive specials, you do have the Zuka, you do have the whale. You need to use these specials effectively in order to really cause some damage. That's a good start though, getting a 1-for-1 trade. Widow is here trying to play a little bit of trying to dodge around. It's gonna work, and Magnolia entering the final 10 seconds, entering overtime potentially. Milotic though causing some havoc. Joey with a flank though from that top left side will call game, and Incognito will take a 3-0 series win.
Reminder, in the winner's bracket, it was 3-1 in favor of Magnolia, flipping the script here, and now Incognito will have the opportunity to move on to grand finals here. What a set and what a difference that was. Incognito showed they are a team to be feared, showed why they still deserve a chance here, and really just were able to play to their advantages and allow the rest to fall in line. Now we have the opportunity to see a wonderful, very exciting grand finals that will await us between Hades and Incognito in our grand finals.
You know what? I'm excited. Apparently, you said these teams have played before, right?
Hades and Incognito specifically, no. I was
Oh,
referring
okay.
to Magnolia and Incognito as initially between this set that we just watched was initially played earlier in Winners Bracket where Magnolia won 3-1, but I was mentioning how this flip has been switched here as Incognito just took that to heart and came back with a vengeance, but now we're going to be seeing an opportunity between our number 1 seed Hades and number 7 seed Incognito.
Yeah, you know what? I'm excited for it, but I think we're gonna take a very, very quick break. So stay right there. We got grand finals coming up. So if you like Splatoon, come back. Well, here we are, everybody. Another week, another Prism break. Another Prism break, another grand final set. And we have a rematch. No, not rematch. A very, very close set that's going to be showed. As we have Hades versus the team we just saw, Incognito. I am Topic, joined by Rocket. And Rocket, how you feeling?
I am pumped up for this. We have seen both of these teams be very, very aggressive, and I'd love to see that Mahi Mahi Resort right there is our first map. I mean, it kind of lives into how these teams like to operate, and especially that little quirk of the map obviously being expanded. But not only that, but the ability for both these teams to not only defend well, but counteract well has been very interesting and has been something that has really kept my eye throughout this entire tournament on both of them. So it is going to be very interesting to see how they face off against each other, because this is the first time I believe that they've met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and has Hades been on stream before, I believe?
Yes, Hades has been on stream before.
So okay, so you said they're very aggressive with their playstyle, right? They're very in your face.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm intrigued because, you know, as we saw from Incognito with the dapple doolies, with the brush, they also are going to be very, very in your face. But enough of the speculation, enough of the predictions. Let's hop into it. Let's see the action. We are going to see a stamper out of Violet there on the side of Hades, and from Incognito, kind of what we expected, what we saw in that last set. Nothing really surprising.
Yeah, you're going to see these very aggressive players. Violet has been on a tear for Hades. They have been providing so much value on that side. On the other side, you obviously have Joey, who has been going on these nuclear kill streaks with it. And you see them creeping up a little bit on that left side, trying to find an opportunity, and they will find it. And taking down Violet, now an opportunity for Incognito to get back into the swing of things, is now they are able to take the zone here and already off to an early start.
Yeah, and again, the big fight, the big matchup between these two teams is going to be the pencil and the pencil. Whichever one can draw better is going to be the one that gives their team a very, very big advantage. As Sky there with the support is able to help Mylota get a kill. Unfortunately, they're going to be pressured by Violet on the Zipcaster. Thankfully, not going to die yet. Unfortunately, going to go down to Cuber on the opposing pencil as the water level already going to drop. And Incognito, another 2 down, looking super, super strong. And Hades, they're going to have to do something here.
Yeah, but Incognito has been on a roll here. Even despite the entire map being unlocked to them, they still are holding ground. Incognito just continuing to try to go for the knockout situation, but now an opportunity may present itself for Hades to stay back into it. The tri-strikes are going out to try to save this a little bit, but still they are able to hold on to the zone and still counting 5, 4, 3, 2. This could be the killing blow, and just like that, Incognito 100-0 Hades. What a initial first impression by them. Hades, our #1 seed, have been impressive up until this point, but look at that. Incognito are showing that they have been they had the hot hand. They got knocked down here, remember, winners bracket semis, and despite that, they haven't lost a map since.
I mean, that you gotta play the game. What can I say? I think Incognito came to this game, like you said, they had the hot hands, they were ready. Hades, they might have done a bit of solo queue, maybe took a little break, so they kind of came in a little bit cold, a little bit room temperature, not ready. And Incognito, to put it simply, they punched him in the mouth. So now Hades has to respond.
Yeah, and to add to your little analogy a little bit, they just got to take it on the chin. There's still plenty of maps to be played here, especially our game #2, Scourge, Gorge, Rainmaker. Any thoughts on this map mode topic?
Okay. I think for these two teams specifically, or just in general, okay, in general, it does come down to the ramp a lot of times. If you get ramp, you're going to be fine. If you lose ramp, you're not going to have a good time. But for these two teams specifically, I would not be surprised if we are going to see a lot of stally matches, especially in mid. I would be surprised if we're 3 minutes deep and no one has scored yet, because it can be very difficult, especially with good pencil players on both sides, being Sky and Cuber, being able to just poke anyone out from a long range, make them second guess pushing in. I think this map can get a little bit, or this match in particular can get a little bit stally. Though I feel like once that basket opens, it's gonna be pandemonium with how much is gonna be scored.
Yeah, but we could also see aggressiveness as well coming from Joey and Milotic here. I mean, that has been the 1-2 punch that's been working for Incognito. Joey being able to go in with those Dapple Dualies plus the Reach Slider could provide a lot of space. Same thing with Milotic, but counteractedly on the Zipcaster. But on the other side, Violet could do the same thing, so we could see a Zipcaster v Zipcaster, a little bit Attack on Titan action, if you will. But still, with that, it's just gonna be a matter of can they really overcome those defensive challenges like you mentioned here, because this map mode, I do agree with you, can prove to be very difficult to get through.
I mean, I wouldn't say Attack on Titan per se. I'd more say Sparking Zero for a more relevant one. You know, bit of some air battles, but that's neither Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man. Okay. You know what? We can agree on that. But enough of the other games. Let's get back to our main game, as we're gonna see a little bit of a change up from Hades with Adapt going to the the Custom Blaster, and Trey switching over to the 52 gal. And from Incognito, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Very interesting comp indeed. Having that Custom Blaster may provide a little bit more spacing with that splashdown, and similarly, on that same note, with providing that spacing, I mean, what more of a midline weapon such as the regular 52 gal here with that wall and having Killer Whale as well. But seemingly already, we see the strikes going out, won't find much value, but will provide at least some spacing, as Incognito will at least have the slight upper hand here as Joey tries to go in, will get taken out there though. So now a little bit of neutral just occurring here, just these teams trying to find an opportunity, trying to find a crack, but now Hades actually finding that crack, and they will take that Rainmaker as Adapt will splash down, but Joey is there for the defense.
I mean, Joey was caught between a rock and a hard place, making it out alive. That's going to be a wipeout on the side of Hades. Incognito is going to score, going to take the lead and get that checkpoint. Maybe, but the checkpoint will be at least threatened here. Joey going to slam it down. Unfortunately, they're going to go down themselves, and Hades is looking to be on their back foot right away, thankfully for them. Incognito are gonna go 3 down. Hold on, Joey's still going, still running forward, getting it out to 51, trying to squeeze the space that Hades has. Milotic here is gonna be able to paint the Rainmaker. Unfortunately, that might be the end of the push. Looks like it's going to be. Oh, never mind. Hold on, Joey. Joey.
No, it is not. Joey responded, continuing to push the lead even further. No regard for their own life, but still with their team. Trey will find a triple, though, on the back of that. And just like that, Hades responds with a pop-off of their own. Now, Cuber will be the one to take it up for Hades here. Healy, the pencil, will be the one to take it. So now a little bit of limiting range here, because now you don't have that long-range pencil to really open things up. But Joey on that flank will take out that Rainmaker here. Joey has come up time and time again of being clutch for Incognito, but still, Hades still are in a great position here to at least get this first checkpoint to start getting the ball rolling here. But they need to find that opportunity soon here, because they need to develop some specials to really move in.
There it is. Oh, never mind. You said his name once. We'll say it again. Joey has just been running forward, and it's been working out, keeping Hades away from that first checkpoint, and now just stalling out for as long as they can. Milotic here going in is gonna find Violet, looking for a double. Is gonna get Trey with the second, and unfortunately they're gonna go down themselves. But with about 2 minutes left, Incognito, they have some momentum on their side, as Hades has yet to break through that first checkpoint.
Yeah, and yet again, Hades will manage to at least hold on to spacing a little bit here. Adapt is in such a great position for Blasters, just camping that ledge, making sure they can't find that value there. Joey will manage to find the Rainmaker, but too little too late, as the checkpoint will be capped for Hades. So now an opportunity for them to get back into the Zipcaster, popped by Violet, trying to find an opportunity. Trey will win that 1v1 against Widow on that left side. Trey is still causing damage here on this gal, will potentially find Joey here. Joey will be traded out on that, but now Hades have a lane to go into, but that lane is quickly shut down by Widow.
I mean, they're trying their best. Adept here, trying to pop with the Rainmaker with the splashdown. It's not gonna work. It's just an all-out brawl. My Lollic's gonna find one, looking for a second. It's not gonna work. Violet and Cuber, it's gonna be there. Widow decides to pick it up. Gonna go down. Unfortunately, they are going a bit backwards. So if Hades pops it, that's be a free lead. There it is. Violet gets the lead with one more in front for a bit of cavalry. Adept is there. Gonna get another kill. It's just all-out pandemonium. Another one going down. Incognito 3 down. Hades at striking distance, gonna get another couple of points. And Hades, it took them almost the entire game, but here they are. They're here to stay. Sky decides to jump it off and give Incognito a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, and breathing room they need, especially since the entire map is mostly painted orange here. You see the tri-strikes just being popped by Incognito to try to provide some spacing, provide Hades just to allow Hades to get out of here, but Adapt is not letting their leave be taken peacefully here. They will go down on that push. The 20 seconds left. Incognito have one last opportunity here in overtime to even things up, but this is especially dangerous here because one mistake and one death for the Rainmaker can prove fatal, but still, they're being pushed back. Will they even be able to pop the Rainmaker? It is looking very unlikely here. You see Violet looming in the distance, just waiting for an opportunity, but no, the Rainmaker will not be popped, and just like that, evening things up, Hades will now punch right back, and what a comeback that was.
I mean, we can both agree, for about like 65% of that game, that was all Incognito, right? Like, they had all the momentum, they were popping off, and then it took one bad fight. And there it is, Joey with a nice kill there to kind of stall them out, because it took them a while. I think they was about halfway, a little bit more than halfway through the game before they broke through the first checkpoint. And then from there, once that first checkpoint fell, it just, the floodgates just opened, and Hades they never looked back. They never gave Incognito a second chance, because once they got into court, at that point, it was just GG, shake my hand.
Yeah, pretty much. And you see the wipeout there from Incognito to really get the ball rolling. They were able to get so far into Hades' side of the map, but you see here the quick kill onto Widow there that allowed Hades continuing to move it forward, allowed the Rainmaker to stay suspended so far into that side. It just allowed them to continue off that pressure. Now we move on to a different map and mode, ship-shaped cargo tower control here.
Yeah, this map, it's kind of hard to say, because I do think we have seen pencil from both of these teams, so I think that could be really, really impactful. As you know, getting past that first checkpoint, while not difficult, is very resource intensive, to say the least. Now, once you get past that first checkpoint, once that first checkpoint falls for either team, then begins the long trek through the snow, the mud, the rain, towards the second checkpoint. Because if you can get to the second checkpoint, not break it, just get to it, with how bad of a spot you're in, because you're at a high disadvantage. You're gonna have to spend a lot of time, because it goes from one side of the map to the other. If you can get to the second checkpoint, that might as well be the game right there.
Yeah, a lot of things have to go right, especially with the specials. You see Violet here switching to the Charcoal Decapitator. Really interesting pick here. You'd think they'd switch to the regular Mint Decapitator with that bubble pick, but no, switching to that Jetpack instead. I like it. That being the only change here in this map. Both teams, regardless of that, will remain steady here. As we see here, maybe we can provide a little bit of a difference with that decap. That is Hades' thinking here, but so far, no real picks here.
I mean, well, commentators curse. There's one, there's two, there's three. So, you know what? We're gonna stop talking about when there's picks. Yup. And of course, who else would it be but Joey with the shark here? And Incognito will strike first, getting it down to 82-79, getting to that first checkpoint. Gonna threaten to break it, though not quite yet, as Trey with the flank is gonna get a hit onto one there. Joey manages to jump out, and Incognito kind of stealthily breaks the first checkpoint. Melodic with a double on the Zipcaster, looking for the triple on Violet's not able to find it, forced to jump away. Trey here just still behind them, making sure they can't get their supply line set up. Widow's gonna go down, Joey running in head first, forced to back away. Thankfully, Sky is there for a bit of help. Violet is gonna pop the Inkjet to try to cause some damage, and Trey has just been alive. They've been alive this entire time, just painting Adapt here with the blasters. They're gonna find one, in Hades are gonna be able to get or possibly get through this first checkpoint.
Ray has been playing 52 Gal like a Slayer weapon, and I love it. I love it so much here. But we see now Hades has an opportunity to actually take this lead away from Incognito here. This is the long trek you were talking about, but they will, at the very minimum, take that lead. Adapt is still in the backline of Incognito. They have that splash gun for if the times get rough, but no, they won't be able to pop it here. But Keely, this jetpack is available for Violet. An opportunity may present itself, especially with Cooler on their backs as well. Joey will go down there off of the back of that. 3 players are down for Incognito. This could be very, very dangerous for them.
I mean, it already is. They got Adapt there on that top left side, or top right side, which is very, very useful. Joey here trying to go for another kill on the tower. It's not going to work. Trey and Violet going to tag team that kill. Unfortunately for them, they're going to be forced off of tower, so tower's going to move back just a little bit. But for a majority of this game, Hades has been super dominant, as Trey has just been alive. Like, the fact that they just been alive just really helps out Joey. We do see them sharking, trying to go for the tower. Unfortunately, they are going to be seen by Adapt's point sensor there. And Hades, again, just on the offensive. Incognito, they've been trying to, ever since that first push, they've been just on their back foot the entire time.
Yeah, but this is a very hard position to push through if you're on the side of Hades. It is so brutal, the elevation difference, and you can see it already with how far these Hades players have to aim up. Joey will find 1, will find 2, continuing to try to move forward, trying to be the catalyst for Incognito's counterattack here, and it will work here, as now Incognito will be sent back to mid, and so does Hades here, just waiting for now an opportunity to reset a little bit, allow these jumps to get in, and allow for the next team fight to ensue. But Incognito have 2 specials, never mind, 1 special shut down Joey's, but the tri-strikes will still be had here.
I mean, yeah, it's just gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be very, very hard for Incognito to get anything going, because we saw how strong Hades was and is, because they ever since that first push, ever since Incognito broke through that first checkpoint, they have not been able to pass mid, and that's one of the reasons why Adapt there is able to just affect the tower super well. Violet, the last one alive with the decap, is gonna find one. Unfortunately, they're gonna go down themselves, and Incognito, they have an opportunity here to get towards that second checkpoint. Here starts the long trek. They have a minute left to go. We do see Trey and Violet already on that top right side. Very, very dangerous position for Incognito. They're gonna have to kind of force their way through.
Yeah, you'd like for Sky to poke at them a little bit, or allow that Zipcaster to really do damage, but Hades is not giving any ground at all. Violet, you see on that jetpack, just raining down hell there, just trying to provide that artillery fire. A quick 1-for-2 trade will be in the favor of Hades. Will stop that push. Dead in the water. 25 seconds left. Incognito needs to jump onto this tower and not only force pretty much a wipeout to knock Hades back a peg, but need to continue this push though. 15 seconds left. 2 members are down for Hades, so this could be an opportunity for them to strike. The cooler is played as well, but they need to hop onto that tower fast. 10 seconds left. The gal is down. Trey is down here. 5 seconds left. They are continuing to move along, but now any mistake will cause the end of this match.
I mean, that's already a bad start, or a decent start. 1-for-1 on both sides. Sky here is gonna go down, and there it is. We said his name once, we'll say it again. Trey just staying alive, and that will be Incognito's undoing, as they just aren't able to get the picks they need. And Hades, despite a little bit of a scare in game number 1, looked pretty good in the next 2. So now they're forcing Incognito's backs up against the wall.
Yeah, trying to force the gentleman's sweep here. Now, looking at the next map that we have on our hands, I believe it is Zones. I just can't pull up the map right now, but I want to mention how much Trey has really woken up to being that quintessential just catalyst for their team, as normally you take a look at how Violet has been playing. I mean, you are that flashy sword player, you are in their face with that Zipcaster and all, but Trey has been able to provide that 1-2 combination that they've been able to really work on. And okay, there is the zones popping up. It is Macomart zones, I believe, that will be popping up for our next game, number 4 here. If they want to stay alive and even things up, Incognito, this is a do or die match here, and to force game 5, Museum.
I mean, they won game 1 on zones, so they have the secret sauce that they need on zones. Maybe it's just Mako might be what they need. The more you can like kind of get super far up into the enemy base, kind of get a little bit of a stagger going. It'd be really hard for Hades to come back. But then again, if you're Hades, you've been doing a really good job of kind of countering the Dapples. You've been doing a really good job of just pointing them out, throwing sensors, just making sure they can't fully capitalize on that. But let's see what will change as Adapt with a Clash Blaster. Okay, and that's the Chumps Clash Blaster, and Violet switching over to the Mint decap with the bubble.
Yeah, Incognito standing firm, though. A very interesting choice of weapons here. You don't normally see Clash Blaster played, but I'd love to see it here, especially with the Chump setup, just to allow for more painting ability and allow more area of denial as well. Violet will get a very nice slash here, trying to counteract, trying to find more. Sky will be found as well, and trying to hunt for these kills, and will manage to get out of there in the nick of time, but slicing and dicing through Incognito now. Hades are in a great position to continue to extend their lead. They're already near the 65-point mark, Topic.
I mean, I think I see why they picked Clash Blaster now. It might be a troll, but I also think that it just does a lot of damage. It just kind of does a lot of AoE. It has a really big blast radius, so you gotta just affect the ledges super well, as Incognito just quickly gets onto the zone, trying to go for a lead here. They have to be super careful because Hades does no more bubble. They do have the chumps, so they can fight really well into them. So it's just a matter of, can you make them pop chumps in a really bad spot and make them not use them to their fullest potential.
Yeah, Incognito will take the lead, though, here. It is actually Hades will be down left to just Cuber here. Nice pick onto Joey, but will cause the zone to be contested here a little bit. And off of the back of that, the cooler will be had for the entirety of Hades. This is huge for them to stay into it, as now Incognito are just trying to fight to not induce a penalty, but induce a penalty they will, as 3 members are down for them. It is just left to Joey on that left side, but they are not going down without a fight at all. Hades needs to get out of this penalty points to stay alive here, and that re-sliders coming in from Joey to create so much space, and so are the tri-strikes. Now Incognito back in control of the zone.
I mean, it's really hard for Incognito to really get something going, because they don't really, not that they don't really have it, but the re-slider kind of gets countered. A nice kill there by Keeper, but the re-slider kind of gets countered a little bit by the Clash, because he just back up and cause a lot of damage to the re-slider player themselves, while the explosion is like right after it ends. So it's very hard for them to get anything going. But Hades not looking to let go here. Incognito, though, fighting for their lives, able to get or cap the zone. Milotic there with the Zipcaster trying to cause some damage here. Widow with the strikes, gonna contest some space. It's not gonna work, as no one's gonna go down yet. Adapt, it's gonna pop the chumps here. So now Hades looking to fight inside the zone, and it's gonna work out in their favor, as Incognito go 2 down, 3 down. That'll be 3-4. That'll be a nice advantage for Hades.
Yeah, and Adapt taking those blaster angles, these lower elevation angles, to get these, maybe a cheeky kill, but not only that, but at least force Incognito to position themselves somewhere else. And you see it over there, Joey was forced on the right side and quickly shut down. Now Hades has an opportunity to take the lead here, especially since they are now up 1 player here, and it will be just the case, as Incognito will need to get back into this. Widow has the tools to potentially get into it. 2 players are down as well. The tri-strikes are being popped now, and this is when the push needs to happen now. Incognito will force in that penalty, but now they have a hill to climb, as they will be they need to get out of their own penalty. But that is a good start, as now the Clash Flash is out of commission, now the decap is out of commission, but so are 2 of their own players.
Yeah, I mean, Hades just taking these fights. They're letting Incognito get to zone. They're putting themselves in a bad spot so they can get some easy, quick picks. As we saw Trey get basically a triple there by forcing Sky away, Adapt, and kind of pick onto Milotic, which would be very which is very bad for Incognito because you need as many members up as possible as we entering less than a minute left to go. Joey on that left-hand side is gonna get found out and killed almost immediately. That's gonna be another 2 down for Incognito. Under a minute left to play. There's the zip of Reefsider going out for Incognito's not going to cap this zone. Joey, unfortunately, is going to be forced out and forced to go down. And with Hades looking really strong, they've been getting a lot of picks. They've been keeping Incognito really staggered. They haven't let them build up their resources to get a really strong push. They've been kind of countered in a way.
Yeah, Tritrix are coming in to try to contest this. Not quite yet. Hades still will remain control. They're just going straight for the knockout here. Time is limited here. Violet are Keely taking this fight on the right stack, trying to cause damage. The brush is down for Incognito. Violet is trying to take that fight with Joey. Joey goes down. 3 players are down for Incognito, and that will be the killing blow. Hades will complete the gentleman's sweep in this grand finals, and just like that, they are your Prism Break number 12 champions.
I mean, it took them a little bit, they were a little rusty. They had, they had to get some WD-40 on the old elbows, on the fingers to kind of de-rust themselves. But, it took them a little bit, but they got it. Even though it says 3-1, it's a reverse sweep. These were really close games. Like, it really took until the very end when Hades kind of established themselves, were they able to do something, and speaking of establish themselves, Violet with a nice double there to kind of get the ball rolling. But I feel like these games could have gone really either way. Like all three of them that Hades won, it was very back and forth. It really wasn't until game 3 and 4 where we saw them kind of counter Joey's dapples, counter that really aggressive I go in first playstyle. It took them a little bit, but once they figured it out, they kind of just held on and never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of started in game 1, though. I mean, Incognito really just 100-0'd them in that initial game, and Hades was like, oh, okay, so this is how they play, got it. And then just like that, continued to win just 3 straight onwards in that gentleman's sweep, and just the ability and the adaptability of Hades to stay within it and learn from their opponents was what won them this match. I mean, props to Incognito for making it this far. I mean, they fought hard through this. I mean, remember, they were knocked down to loser's bracket in the winner's bracket semi, so they had a lot more matches to be played, so still massive props for them for fighting hard, just not enough.
Yeah, great job to Incognito. Hades, of course, with a they're a pretty good team. They know a thing or two. But yeah, with that, that'll be it from us. And that'll be it for Prism Break 12. We got a little bit of housekeeping to get done. Rocket, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me down there at Rocket_Splat on Twitter and Twitch. You can find me on Discord at Rockety, just chilling around in Splatoon Discords as usual. But enough of that. What about you, Topic?
Yeah, you can find me again, or same right there on the screen, Topical 2 on Twitter and Blue Sky, over on Discord at Topic_2. Just yapping.
As commentators do.
As we do.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll just about do it for us. Thank you all for watching. We will see you in the next Prism Break next Tuesday. Thank you for Jorian for being our wonderful streamer. Thank you to all the staff that worked tirelessly behind the scenes, and we will see you in the next one.
Yes, and of course, you can't this won't be a Prism Break without our iconic signatures.
Oh yeah, wait, map voting, by the way. Make sure you vote for the maps.
Vote for maps. And with that, with everything being said, have a good night, and remember, never stop disturbing the peace.